Hello everyone, welcome to What If Cid Kagenou Lost His Humanity and Became Terrifying Part 2. Before we start, please go support Wixter12 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Cid is a male. Chapter 10. I was on the train. The train was only going to drop me off in the city, so if I wanted to get to the mysterious ruins, I'd have to go on my own after staying here. Life like this isn't so hard. Not going to school and getting gold by defeating bad people and making my image of eminence more popular. Although I don't like to shine as much as an eminence, I prefer a balance, so when all this is over, I plan to return to Midgar and resume my role. It's possible that I repeat the year and that Nay-san hangs me? I don't know what my parents will say, although I'm practically a zero on the left, so I don't think it's more than a simple NPC scolding. Maybe I can find a way to not repeat the year. If I do something about the director, could I threaten him like someone mysterious? Could I erase his memory? Well, I think Zeta can take care of those extreme methods for me, so my vacation is assured. Soft tapping on shoulder. Hannah had fallen asleep on my shoulder. She was probably tired from the trip. After all, we've already been on the train for 7 hours. The city is somewhat remote. When I think of Hannah, I can't help but think of the character who would be my successor or a character who would become my enemy. She looks 10 years old, but her mentality is somewhat different. It almost seems like I'm talking to a person my age. Maybe she's a typical character who has a smaller body but a tougher mentality without aging. If that were the case, I'd be a little envious. Looking weak but being extremely strong also sounds tempting to me. The train is shown in its entirety. A person can be seen reading a newspaper while looking with his brown eyes at seat row A12. Cid's row. Another person is standing with a cigar in his mouth. Have you managed to find out anything? No. We're still monitoring as you instructed. Any suspects with anything different? There's only a black-haired boy next to the girl. What do we do, sir? We have orders to eliminate the anomaly, so eliminate it. Understood. Understood. Get up from the place. I just want to sleep. I don't want to do this anymore, it's boring. I'd destroy the world if necessary to know where you are, but that would also destroy my life in this world. You're making it a little difficult for me. Excuse me. Would you like something to drink? Yeah. Service? On my next trip, I won't hesitate to take the high-cost trains instead of walking or taking the cheap cuckoo trains. The friendly waitress had brought a lineup of different drinks. There was plain water. A copy of the soda from my nostalgic other life. Wine of the finest quality. Juice. There was plenty of it. Although it's a bit early, I'll choose the apple juice. My hand was about to drink the juice. As soon as I took it, it shattered into pieces. I looked around for the culprit, but I was already on the floor. The sword approached Hannah with the intention of ending her life. Cid only created a small sphere of slime preventing the cut. A screeching metal sound resounded. Some passengers woke up after hearing the loud noise and commotion. What's going on? What's this scandal? What is that black thing? Couldn't my sword pierce it? Die. The other guy pointed his sword at Cid, but he just moved his head slightly, avoiding the cut. Kia! A.M. murderer! Aid! I think I could get some exercise if I do this. Damned! The poor unbeliever continued with his attacks on my head. I only moved slightly, dodging something as if it were luck. Secret technique acting 31 mob. Oh! Help! Tisk, why can't I give it to him? Hey! Stop playing and help me with this, I can't get through it! The guy picked me up with his arms and looked at me angrily. He hit me in the face and I flew and was going to crash into the wine glasses. But he changed his trajectory and I fell into some seats. Okay, my performance was perfect, there are people here. I changed my trajectory because I didn't want my juice to go to hell. I ate a light pill of fake blood and spat out some of it. People looked at me in horror, as if I had just been murdered. Okay, keep it up. Bastard, you were a little fast, but nothing I can't beat. The spy looked at everyone on the train with a serious expression. While everyone was screaming for help, he quickly gave a loud scream. Silence! If you don't shut up, we'll end everyone's life here in the name of the devil cult. The passengers fell silent at the declarations, obeying immediately, terrified. On the other hand, Cid remained lying on the floor, spitting out fake blood. He tried to get up. Wait! Who is that guy? I haven't given up! Are you still alive? Imbecile, it would have been better if you had stayed there so you wouldn't have suffered. Take care of him now. I need backup. The subject shot out at Cid, who, defenseless, took the attack and flew off the train. The spectators were completely shocked. However, Cid was on the roof of the train. I think I didn't give that clone enough slime. Well, now it's time for me to enter with my new identity. If this is a place of faith and if they believe so much in that God, I will be representing the opposite. If that will be a good idea, I will invent a fake organization and say that I belong as a member of it from the shadows. I will have a balance between secondary/villain role. What was the name of the most popular witch in my old life? Oh yeah. I'll take your name. My slime surrounded me. Now with my new appearance, I made my face paler. Also my hair was longer, reaching my shoulders. And I'd put on a little bit of a materialized fake beard. It wasn't as good as Epsilon at making it look like real skin. But slime isn't that hard to make look like human limbs. The good thing is that I was previously working on this, creating the appearance from scratch so it would only transform my face. The Immortal Monk. The Greatest Witcher and the New Organization. Grigory Rasputin of the Witcher Cult. I have the baby. It's time to go. The boss will be happy about this. The cult members already had Hannah with them, who was still asleep on their shoulders. They turned on their sides and before leaving, a chain was fired at high speed at one of the subjects, causing him to fall violently to the ground. Jaya! What the hell? Footsteps slowly sounded on the train. The small sound of screeching metal stopped. All that could be seen was a man with somewhat long hair and a bit of a beard. He also looked pale. His clothes were completely dark, almost as if he were wearing a dark robe. He was carrying a book, reading it, walking with a calmness that cast a certain unease in the air. Who the hell are you? He simply closed his book tightly. At the same time, the two men had become completely motionless. Was it fear? It wasn't something completely different from fear. My body doesn't. What's going on? All those who believe in him will have the unpleasant fate of being cursed. Are you crazy, old man? Before he could continue, a hand fell before his eyes. When he turned around and tried to look at his arm with some disbelief, he could see that his hand was no longer there. Aya! Jaya! Keep quiet. Before continuing to scream, blood fell from his neck and immediately his breathing stopped as he fell unconscious to the ground. What the hell? Who the hell are you? The greatest sorcerer in the world. The one who will one day kill God. Grigory Rasputin. He will kill D-. Before I continued with that, I had slashed his head. Some of his blood splattered on my face. It was unexpected, but that's okay. Now the image of the sorcerer who will defeat God will become popular here in this place. Cid approached Hannah and took her with him. As soon as he did, he left the train at such a speed that it seemed as if he had teleported. Before leaving, he looked at the people on the train with that look that meant danger, before finally leaving. What the hell just? Cid took off his mask looking at the train while he had Hannah with him. He only smiled at his wonderful performance before he was Jack the Ripper, John Smith, and Sasuke Hope. Now he has taken the identity of Rasputin, the greatest sorcerer in immortal history who will one day hunt God. In a place where belief is quite strong, the church in the city had a quite strong power as soon as they hear the news that there is a new organization that plans to challenge those they believe. They will do everything possible to finish off the person or people responsible for what they are doing, having great support from various nations. Now the next plan on Cid's board will be to also cause terror in the Church of Believers and finally complete his objective? Hannah opened her eyes slowly as she did so and could barely see a little because she had just woken up blurry. But she would notice that a breeze ran through her body, holding her body with her arms crossed. Brother? Why is it cold? Have you woken up? To be honest, I'm surprised she hasn't woken up after all the fuss. I thought Hannah was going to take care of this, and I had to. But I guess that's good. This way, I can introduce my next secret identity. Where we are. Hannah noticed that they were at a great height while Cid held her. She looked at Cid quickly in confusion. What are we doing here? It's cold, get me out of here. You'll have to hold on. Why won't I? Huh! Why don't dash? Cid flew off to his destination, exceeding the speed at which the train was going. Cid also, with some cold in his thoughts, thought that now that the train thinks he is dead and that Hannah was kidnapped, they could not go back, and the next train was going to take a long time to come, so with no more options with his own speed, he decided to get to his destination as quickly as possible with his current speed. If he went quickly, it should not be a problem before he caught a cold. Get me down from here, get me down! Why am I taking it with me? I should just drop it instead. At the exit of the Midgar school, Claire was walking down the long hallway looking for Alexia everywhere, but she couldn't find her anywhere. Where is she? Heavens first called me to bring me here and I can't find her anywhere. What are you doing? I'm looking for that distracted girl. First she talked to me about coming, but now I can't find her. Has she left? Who are you calling distracted? Claire turned around with a little cold sweat when she heard Alexia behind her, but she calmed down quickly, although Alexia had some veins marked with discomfort. She's the distracted one. I told her about the other room, and she couldn't even tell which one. There's no doubt she's Pachi's sister. Didn't you say early? I went around the whole place looking for you. Forget that now. I'll take you to my house. To your house? Weren't we going to the library? No. The library won't be much use for that. All right? It'll be a little annoying if they accept you into my home, so I apologize for that. I'm overconfident because of the above. They're overprotective of me, to the point of being annoying. And why don't you prove that you don't need bodyguards? I'm not as strong as my sister. Everyone thinks I'm terrible, that's why I always have bodyguards, especially since that night. That night? Forget what I said, let's go. Okay, but don't get too far ahead of yourself. Chapter 11. While I was flying, I was looking for several places where I could stay, an apartment, or a hotel. Fortunately, with my exaggerated speed, it didn't take long. I managed to find a place. I descended and returned to my mob appearance. As soon as I descended and released Hannah, she ran into a passageway. Did she go to vomit? I had no idea she had height vertigo. Well, she's a girl who will get. I rented another apartment and moved out. It was pretty cold today. I didn't want to catch another cold, it was annoying to do so. I walked around the entire apartment. To be honest, when I walked in and explored the place, it was quite long. The hallways were pretty long, and I didn't even know where to go. And the lights were a bit dim. I think it was the wind. Or was this place already in such bad shape? Room 333. I unlocked the room with my key and walked in. It was a casual room with not much to offer. Was this city a bit poor? Well, maybe I was unlucky in choosing the apartment that was the czar. I'd better check out more places, although this place doesn't look bad. I'm doing so many things that I've given up my role as a school mob or a weakling. Should I go back? I don't want to go to school. But at this rate, I'm going to get bored if I keep doing the same thing. Sound of door violently opening. You. Is she the crybaby? Tisk. Hannah walked in wearily, her hair all messed up, almost looking like a horror character. Her gaze was a little pale, but nothing out of the ordinary. You left me vomiting in the hallway and went into a hotel. Hannah just walked into Cid's room and locked herself in her own. Not even a minute had passed, and she already stole my room? Oh, is this a little brother tantrum? It's just nostalgic. He'll get over it. For now, I'll just lie down on my couch and sleep for a while. I'm too sleepy to think about what I'll be doing tomorrow. Cid closed his eyes. While Cid was asleep, Hannah was cuddled between his legs, somewhat annoyed, and pouting. She loved her brother, but sometimes his attitude bothered her, even though she knew he could end her. Not even she knew why she felt this way. Maybe it's my first affection in a long time. I don't know. Hannah slowly began to fall asleep, closing her crimson eyes. As she fell asleep in his arms, she began to feel something strange coming on. Sighing sound. A sighing sound began to invade my head. I didn't know what that sound was. It was like when an animal snores. It was unpleasant. I wanted it to stop. I started walking, but all I could see was a large tree. The little girl continued on her way, and as she walked she noticed something peculiar. In the background she could hear a sound like that of a person when they are eating their food. As the little girl approached she could see before her eyes a creepy figure. A figure never seen before. Was this some kind of creature? Devouring something totally unknown with intensity. Hannah slowly backed away while covering her mouth a little, wanting to vomit, but as she backed up she stepped on a rock generating a little noise. Although it was minuscule, it expanded like waves and was noticed by that strangeness. She finished what she was doing and looked at the little girl, but as soon as she did, Hannah got out of bed in fear while sighing heavily. She slowly raised her head, and when she regained some sight she found herself back in her room. Hannah got out of bed a little uncomfortably. Now she had lost the desire to sleep again. Despite the fact that she hadn't slept for a few days and Cid had told her to sleep because she looked like a zombie even though she didn't care. She took her brother Cid's words into account, but also because of these kinds of dreams, the little girl couldn't sleep, feeling a little overwhelmed. She left her room and would see Cid, who was already sleeping on his couch. Hannah looked at Cid and he just made a face of annoyance, but at the same time he sighed and continued on his way. She heard a sound outside, so she went out opening the door to check what was there, but she wouldn't notice someone or something outside until she was grabbed by the mouth by someone. Calm down and listen to me and dash. Hannah without warning hit her head hard backwards, freeing herself and falling to the ground. That hurts. What are you looking for? Are you the one who wants to kill my brother? If so, I won't forgive you. What? Of course not. I'm saving your life by keeping you from going down that path. Saving lives? What do you mean? Little girl, listen to me. Get away from there. Why should I listen to you? You don't understand. Those guys down there are people who were ordered to kill anyone who's suspicious. The church is too weird right now. It's ordering everyone to be killed. Church? Where are your parents? Tisk. Hannah sent the person flying with her power as she continued on her way. This was noticed by the girl who was sent flying, who was surprised that a little girl could do such a supernatural feat. She tried to move, but the supernatural pressure prevented her from doing so because of the gust created. I can't move. But what? Hannah continued walking. As she continued walking, she felt a strange pang in her chest, as if it were some kind of promotion/warning, as if this was going to matter. She just kept going, curious to know what was beyond this place. What are they doing? We're going to take them. These children are suspected of being involved. That's ridiculous. They've been in this department with us and they've never acted suspicious. These are direct orders from the church in the city of Beggar. We're just here to do what they ask, so hand over the children and there won't be any problems. We always agree with you, but we can't give our children that. It's too much. Please put yourselves in our shoes. Do what we ask, otherwise there will be serious consequences. We don't want to act forcefully because you are good collaborators and we have a contract, but even so, if you don't comply, we will still take action against you. Beggar's church? Children? Tisk. We have to obey what we're told. It won't do any good to resist. If we do, we'll be in trouble. That's what it is. Go ahead, do it quickly. What are you doing? It's either them or we don't want to get involved against the entire city. They keep us safe from the warring organizations. The least we can do is obey. We don't want another city at war against us. Tisk. Go ahead. Some hooded individuals wearing white/yellow-edged outfits walked up to some rooms. They forcibly took some children while they were being taken away by force. The department heads only watched this with disgust. Even though they were all politicians, it was hard to see how people who had nothing to do with these matters were hurt, but it was him, or them. Human nature is to save oneself even if it must be selfish and sacrifice other people for their own good. We as humans have that law. While some people were taking these children with them, some screamed as soon as they saw the hooded men, but they just took them, even if it was by force, and put them to sleep. Some mothers/fathers tried to do something but couldn't do much against the forces. While they were taking them with them in the bags, Hannah stared at the entire scene with a face without any apparent expression. It was natural that she had already seen some memories come back to her when she had been attacked in the middle of the night, and the heartbreaking scene had occurred, the tragedy of that night. She only turned around and tried to move away from there without importance, but a part of her chest told her that maybe that was a bad idea. If she had suffered, why would others do it? Could she avoid it? She was not a heroine or an eminence like her brother. She just wanted to live a quiet life. Now that she was given the opportunity, it was all that a normal life asked of you. Really, not even she can know if she considers living with Cid a normal life, assuming that she ended up together with a kind crazy. But she had no choice. If she left, she would be alone again. But at the same time, she noticed that Cid was perhaps more human than she thought. Without knowing it, she generated curiosity. She found the way of living of that person interesting. What was my decision going to be? In her mind, she wondered. Doing something right or not doing it isn't my business anyway. And it's already late, but is it okay for someone like me to do something right for once, considering I was responsible for previously causing the death of my own family? I wouldn't have the right to save people I don't even know. Why do they call a person I don't know a brother? I need so much affection that I don't want to get away from anyone. Wait, but what am I thinking right now? Just me. I think we have a deal. I hope you continue to do your job. Any child is a suspect, and adults if necessary. We're leaving. I just want to kill them. I barely mentioned those words. A sphere granted his wish. It appeared in his hand and materialized like his favorite puzzle cube. Hey! This is... If I have the desire to kill a person, does my power to kill a person materialize? Guess what, little one? If you turn the box to the left, they'll be crushed to death. If you turn the box to the right, you lock them in a room and torture them. If you turn it the other way around, you turn them into ants. How would you like to play? No, I shouldn't do this. My mother does and I don't. Close your eyes and just turn wherever you like. This is just a game. TSK. When it's no, it's no. I threw the bucket to the ground in annoyance. What was that noise? Is anyone here? It came from above. Then check. Didn't you say there was no one else here? That's what we said, but we... Some members of the church quickly went out to search the stairs to see if anyone or anything was there. They began inspecting the rooms, although they didn't find anyone, at least not suspicious. Even so, several people began dying to verify who it was. The church didn't want to leave sinners behind. If necessary, they would finish off innocent people. However, if this happened, these innocent people would have a better life with him, so they would be blessed. An idea that was a bit twisted to be true. I ran to my room while scanning the surroundings. Although if I didn't go in and wake my brother up, he was still going to attack us. There's someone there. Who is that girl? If she doesn't escape, she must be the sinner we've been looking for. All the cult members changed course. They were now heading towards me. I don't think I ran fast enough, but it doesn't matter. If I distract them, I'm sure I'll avoid trouble for my brother. I wouldn't want to have to hear him utter his strange phrases at night. Hannah continued walking as if there was no tomorrow. Several members were behind her chasing her until suddenly one of the many who were behind had thrown a knife. This was seen by Hannah, who gave a small jump, although this was not the last. Everyone was throwing knives at her, but she managed to change direction before all the knives reached her. Use your power, that's the only way. I don't need help. But you love him. You're just as sadistic as all these guys. Don't you realize that? Have you been told that bullying a little girl like me is annoying? After all, you massacred them. That's not. The road had ended. There was no more escape. Hannah had finally been cornered by everyone. Surrender, sinner! It is time to atone for your sins. It is time for you to kneel and suffer. I can't use my powers yet. And I don't want to use that piece. I don't want to lose control again. What should I do? Should I wait for them to come back and save me? It's annoying. I can't always depend on my brother when he's in danger. Who will help him? Me? If I can't even take care of myself. It's time for your. Blood splattered all over the place. In just a few seconds, all the bodies surrounding the place were now fallen. This went from an ambush to a complete carnage. The last of the admirers had fallen. What is it that I didn't use my power, I didn't do anything. As Hannah watched, euphoric, two large, invisible arms appeared behind her. They were large, sizable arms. Hannah couldn't see them. As I walked through the mess that had happened, I looked at the bodies. I couldn't think of anything at all. The smell of blood alone made me want to throw up, but I couldn't. I felt another part of me that didn't dislike what had happened at all. I'm scared. Why am I scared? I'm scared. I sat down and hugged my legs. I just wanted to. I just wanted to. The two huge hands hugged the little one. Why are they taking so long? We should go see. If something happens. If someone was really there. Our contract is over. We swear we had no idea someone like that was actually here. Liars disgust me, but not as much as betrayal. Inspect the entire place from top to bottom, every corner. Yeah. Everyone began inspecting different rooms. As expected, this time they weren't as friendly. They finished with each person in the room, something the apartment owners couldn't help but annoyed. They only listened as the noises intensified in each room, as each room was opened, and as each person screamed. They didn't want to know what was happening, but they also didn't want to imagine it. I woke up because of the commotion. What was happening now? I got up from the couch, a little tired. As I approached, I opened the door. A person flew out, but I closed it again, avoiding getting hit in the face. I opened the door again and saw only an old man lying on my doorstep. I didn't take it too seriously. But while I'm sleeping, there's an enemy attack? This is perfect. Smile. I left the room and saw some men in white robes. White robes. I'd never noticed them before, but that doesn't matter to me. Let's see how they behave. Huh? What's happening to you, Dash? They didn't even let me speak. Why were they in a hurry? I was attacked, and I let myself take the hit. I flew away, my body apparently destroyed. The NPCs have been so boring lately. They won't let me introduce myself. I miss Midgar and my performances a bit, but I guess I'll have to teach them a lesson for not letting me finish my poetic sentence. Are you done? Yeah. The two unbelievers continued on their way, but I pierced them with my materialized slime chains. I stood up again in my Grigory Rasputin guise, and while stretching a little I walked. What the dash? People are really boring lately. They don't focus on their role, but what can you do? Church people are really boring, aren't they? Who are you and how dare you dash? I didn't introduce myself, did I? I'm the greatest witch in history, the one who will one day destroy the church and God. Will it end the church? Look at this book. Hey! I showed my book to both NPCs. They just looked at me in anguish, seemingly wanting to escape, but I wasn't going to let that happen. Now is when our power and my dynamic. This book. It contains the power and hidden truth. Hidden truth? Slime came out of my book and began to form some zombies. This seemed like a magic effect, like a cursed book. This was clearly a reference to the sagas I saw in my old life where magic was very popular. Did magic exist in this world? Yes. How to use it was a mystery, but I investigated in my previous life everything about magic, therefore I know more than 1,000 methods to make it possible, but in this world they are easy as simply using my energy and materializing it into something I strongly desire. Magic is materialized energy, and I can make it work however I want. It is truly interesting, very interesting. Why don't we use something basic? A curse spell? Those who are against the witch cult that rebels against God will be cursed. I expelled energy through my book, channeling it, and using the writings I had made from my previous life, I materialized the words that were written there. This was the simplest way I could think of to make several things possible. If I can use something as simple as words, nothing is impossible for me. The words came out of the book, and the word, magic chains, appeared. Magic chains surrounded my enemies. As soon as they touched them, they vanished into their bodies. What did you do to us? Now every time you mention your master, or stand before the cult you worship most, you will burst into flames. Ha ha. I flicked my chain and disappeared. That was a masterful exit. I must act like a ghost, a terrifying character who will influence fear and won't emerge until the most opportune moment. What's going on? Several people entered, but by the time they had done so there was no one left. Only the two subjects could be seen with traumatic faces while they were on the floor. Hey, what happened? Hey! Death before my eyes. Death what? Yes, surely this is a dream. Exactly, someone like that couldn't exist in this world. What are you talking about? Once they react, we have to continue the search. The two hooded men walked up to a window, and when they looked at it they could see an illusion of a dark person watching them, and urging them to come until they both took a step, but before that they were stopped by their companions. What the hell? What the hell do you think you're doing? These guys. They're completely out of place. We have to tell the boss someone's here. Yes, let's go. Chapter 12. The Beggar Church. What's going on in this place? I don't think I'll be able to keep our promise. But we didn't know anyone was here. Sinners to the end. Sadly, you don't deserve heaven, but my Lord will be kind enough to grant it to you if you prove yourself worthy. Wait, Q-. No! The priest approached and took both of their heads in his hand while the others looked on in amazement at what was happening. What was happening was truly unusual. The brightness in both of their eyes had completely gone out. The light that illuminated their pupils had vanished and lost its light. Now they were just empty shells. Boss! One of the cult's priests, wearing a white robe, began to run alongside his companion, each carrying his companions on his back. They approached their leader, frightened, who, seeing the scene, naturally, like any other person, was shocked by what was happening. What's going on? We don't know. But we suspect someone is here and is attacking everyone. Apparently our colleagues have already confronted him and I don't know what happened, but they're not answering. Could it be someone from the Diabolos cult? No, that's impossible. The Beggar Church is allied with the Diabolos cult. It's impossible for them to have anything to do with this. But then? Have you found the sinner we're looking for? We contacted our colleagues, but no one answered. Can't you catch just one sinner? Seek her out immediately, and don't let her escape if you dare to fail. Understood. Understood. Meanwhile, outside the facility in the distance, two girls with dark suits and light gold edges were watching from a distance what was happening. From a different direction, a beast girl of 1 hour 68 minutes cm was seen, and a long tail which reached the tip of her feet, silver and thick with pointed purple eyes and hair elongated to the neck, of large ears and hair and ears of silver color. The sixth seat of Shadow Garden Zeta was alone, personally looking into the distance. She observed the two girls who were spying. So Alpha-sama has sent 2 spy nuns to replace me to find out about Shadow-sama? Interesting. But Alpha-sama doesn't know what the master needs. My performance was definitely the best. The most popular evil monk character I know versus a church? Good versus evil? A witch cult? I have to admit that slime helped me create costumes, but in a way, I would have preferred a costume more to my liking. but I can't spend my savings buying a specialized costume for myself. I'm not as creative with slime when it comes to creating figures as I was a while ago with my Jemina costume that helped me create Ganma. It would be good to investigate more of that. I think tonight I can experiment more with the design. Stop! Who are you? My name is Grigory Rasputin, the sorcerer of calamity who will one day hunt God. You are responsible for finishing off our comrades. The boss suspected someone was in the building. We thought it was the sinful girl, but this guy was responsible all along. Sinful girl? Finish him off. Some members of the church cult advanced on the apparent old man, standing right under their noses, each with a different attack. Using chains/sword/magic, all aimed at a single person in common. At this, the old man recited a few words from his notebook, which soon materialized into what he recited. Teleportation. After those words, the old man had disappeared to the surprise of everyone in the place. Where is? I'll use my detection magic. When one of the cultists tried to detect where that old man was, something strange happened. He couldn't detect anything. His radar didn't detect/notice anything at all. And no way. What's going on? Have you managed to find out his location yet? My radar can't detect your location. Hey! This hasn't happened before, it's not. Wait. Damn it, everyone on the ground now. What are you dash? A huge gust of wind had decapitated most of the cultists except for a few who ducked by instinct and managed to survive with their heads intact. This guy is on another level, we can't do anything. Are you going to run away? Haven't you noticed? If we keep fighting, we'll all die. I don't care if the church punishes me for this, but I don't want to lose my V. His head shot out of his body in front of his partner at high speed. It seems there is only one left. Wait, don't do it. I was just following orders. It was never my intention to do all this. Suddenly a surprise movement occurred. A huge flash hit that old man above. Good job distracting him, Sonoda-san. Huh? Boss? Now leave the rest to us. We will destroy those who dare to stand in the way of the Bega cult. Now answer us a question. Are you the one behind all this? Who do you work for? Speak now. Coo. Is this old man crazy? Don't waste your time, boss, let's finish him off. I hunt in the shadows. I stalk in the shadows. Hunting in the shadows? Stalk? Your chains are useless to me. You have 3 seconds to untie me, otherwise I'll give you a painful death. If you even think you can get out. Ha! This is one of the most powerful seals in Bega City. It even had the ability to seal a limb of the Diabolos demon in ancient times. The Diabolos cult uses us as sealers because of our great talent. A human as insignificant and old as you could never escape this. Surrender now, old man, and we will give you a merciful death that will purify your soul. Otherwise you will die and burn in hell. Hell? So I'm the bad guy, cuckoo. This crazy old man is driving me crazy. I'll finish him off. In that case I will be it. Something strange was happening. A strange pressure began to crack the chains that held that old man. Slowly as time passed, his body turned into a strange, violent energy that began to break everything. What the hell? The seal is there. Finish it off quickly. Activate the barrier and strengthen the seal. Understood. 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 Protective dome. Protective dome. Arcane barrier. Arcane barrier. Heavenly bolt. Heavenly lightning. Eternal flame. Eternal flame. Fire blast. Fire explosion. Arcane storm. Arcane storm. This is the best combination of attacks from the church. Receive the punishment of the Church of Beggar. Return to hell and pay for your sins, damn it! Die! Shadow burst. Dark burst. After those words, a huge explosion covered the entire place. The spells began to fade slowly, while the explosion began to consume everything. The roof and the room began to suffer damage as well as the entire place. After the enormous noise that was being caused and the scandal, some people came out to see what it was about. When they saw what was happening, there were different reactions to the situation. Fear/horror/surprise/shock/what was happening was something indescribable. The explosion ended up consuming all the spells of the cult of the church as well as their bodies, which disappeared to ashes. The explosion, which was finally contained, exploded, causing a large part of the place where they were to explode as well. I probably overdid the collision and got a little excited. Now I've destroyed my room. I hope I didn't damage my important things. I tried to minimize the damage, but in such a small space, it was almost impossible not to damage the surroundings. My work is finished. Grigory Rasputin. This will raise his popularity. Coo. Now I should look for Hannah and go somewhere else, although on second thought. Should I leave her here? Nah, that would be too much even for me. It would be best to find her. I vanished from sight with my new technique, which I learned through my hard work and training for my epic outings as an eminence. Now, instead of disappearing normally, how would a powerful sorcerer do it? I closed the book, and mana flowed out as I left, giving me a little more credibility. What the hell was that noise? We have to go check it out quickly. Flashback before the events of the church cult and her presence. I don't think I like how the suit is turning out. I'll have to alter it again. What are you doing, brother? And that suit? Are you planning to be a monk? I didn't know you had divine beliefs. I don't plan to be a monk and I don't have any divine beliefs. I'm designing my next suit that I'll wear as a monk. What bad taste you have. Girls like you wouldn't understand. Even if it weren't, probably everyone would say the same thing. Do you have a problem? No, not at all. I just need to make some adjustments. The problem is that I don't have much experience sewing and creating new fabric. Slime helps me in some ways, but molding it to make something I like is complex. You're hopeless. Give me your suit. What are you going to do? You say you don't have any experience in cooking, right? I'll help you. Just because I'm sick of seeing you making noise and complaining every night. All right. I gave my prototype costume to Hannah. She just took the costume and lifted it slightly to analyze it. In a way, I'm surprised to know that she was 12 years old. Sometimes her attitude doesn't seem like that of a person her age. But I can't blame her. The same thing happened to me when I trained at her age in this world. Although mine was because of my mental age that I had collected. Could it be that she is someone like me? I don't think so. She has very childish attitudes, to be true at times. Determining her behavior, her 12 years are mental and physical. I don't notice anything strange. In that case, it's likely that she behaves that way because of some event. Previously in my old life I studied all kinds of things to achieve power. But I also studied the psychological to destroy my enemies. I studied things from the field, and what I found in an old forum was that people are sometimes simply born with that gift. Oh. Can you do it? It will be difficult to handle fabric as strange as this one. It would be easier to use normal fabric. There is no budget. Assuming you'd say that. It'll take some getting used to, but I think I can do something. If you need materials to mold or cut the slime, only another slime maker can do it. I generated a slime thread and needle in my hands and gave it to Hannah, who took them. I'm still amazed you can create objects from that strange material you call slime. Couldn't you try creating gold too? Now that you mention it, I've never tried it before. Slime itself is easy to mold and shape, but it would be easy to notice that the gold it created was fake. Perhaps I could ask Epsilon how to mold it to make it look like real gold. She does it all the time. Brilliant idea, Hannah. It would be impossible. The slime I generate is for items or weapons, and that's generally its only function. Aside from costume creation, which as you can see I'm not perfect at. Creating gold and making it look almost real gold would be impossible for me. Now it would be about molding the slime to a similar color. But you've given me an interesting idea. Hey! By the way, one question. How do you know how to cook? Past history. Aren't you going to tell me? No. All right. Aren't you going to insist on what I'm telling you? No. Tisk. Pod. Now I have a question for you. How did you get that power? Training daily and learning everything about magic throughout my childhood and even today, my adolescence. I find it hard to believe you're that strong, even if you say that. There are knights who train their whole lives and longer and can't compare to you, brother. Training and staying stuck in one thing for a long time isn't the same as training in all areas and focusing on more. I discovered I could discover more ways and continue my hunger. Yeah, that doesn't answer the question. Just train and don't give it any more thought. And the slime? It's a curious story, you won't like to hear it. Why not? Even though you are someone intelligent and strong, there are details that cannot be told. But I want to know. No. Do you tell me things like I'm an NPC? You don't care that much about me, or do you admit that you take out bandits but you can't tell me more? I mentioned it to you because I thought you wouldn't try to chase me and live with me, and it was the last time I was going to see you. And now that I'm with you, right? What's up, little brother? You're going soft on me, is it love between brothers? That's enough, we're done making the costume, give me the needle. Wait, I was joking, bro, don't get mad. Give me the needle. No. Okay. But one more comment and that's enough. You can't stand anything. I felt a magical presence near me. It didn't take long for me to notice. Was it Alpha? It was probably an illusion. Why would Alpha come all the way to this place? Could it be that she's going to scold me for abandoning them? I should prepare an excuse in that case. What if I don't answer her call and pretend to go to sleep? While a brainstorm was running through my head and I tried to find the best possible solution. From the window, which was illuminated by the beautiful moonlight and contemplating the beautiful view outside, I could observe her. It was a girl of 1 hour 60 minutes. With long yellow hair that reached her waist. Her eyes were blue like the sky. Her figure was slender and of a beautiful woman who seemed adult. Her outfit was dark as night with beautiful golden touches that illuminated her figure. And a mask that hid her identity while also hiding her large elf ears. That figure gave off a high but familiar magical power. It was Alpha and she was watching from the window. She directed her gaze towards me as if trying to give me a message. Come here. I guess the plan to try to sneak away has completely failed. Brother? I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom. Continue without me until I get back. All right. I got up from the floor and walked towards the bathroom. I locked the door and proceeded to float. I went straight out the window. It was small but enough to get me out while I floated. That figure was no longer there, but a voice called to me, a female voice. Sit on the roof. I floated up to the roof when I could see Alpha. She was standing on the roof watching me. I agreed to her proposal and sat on the roof. I was prepared for anything no matter what happened until now. I will try to divert the conversation. How are the others? Epsilon already earned her name being popular. Beta also for her novels. Zeta denies standing out, but her grades are excellent. Ada was almost failing several times for falling asleep because she slacked off in her subjects, except for chemistry. I scolded her, but luckily she recovered. Delta improved a little with help but is still below average. Gamma is inducing new ideas and proposals to improve and create activities at school where everyone participates, prioritizing profits. She helps me a lot as vice leader of the class. So you stayed at school, huh? Naturally. We planned your return. We managed to convince the directors that you weren't fit to study. However, that lie won't last long. Sooner or later they'll find out, and you'll be in trouble. We managed to replace you with someone pretending to be you. However, your sister is an obstacle in this. She'll detect the lie sooner or later, and it will become a big problem. Besides, your family will find out. It's a shame. Aren't you planning to return to Midgar? This is more than just fulfilling your leadership duties. You've been away on your journey for so long, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for us to maintain your identity. I appreciate your support in delaying the consequences. You haven't answered the question. My journey of self-discovery has one goal: to discover things that only I can know and only I can do. There are many Diabolos cult movements in this area, but also in Midgar. Naturally, I know we have to take care of that, but… Alpha, do you have something to tell me? Hey! You're mentioning a lot of things without any purpose. If you have something to tell me, do it without too much detail. We are worried about you. Because? Don't you remember? Delta gave me a report that you tried to hurt yourself from a great height. She saved you. But what if she wasn't there? Besides, you've been acting strange since that day. Naturally, I'd have to tell you all this. I don't remember that. You don't remember it, but it happened. You're dealing with a lot on your own. Don't try to act strong right now. You need help. We won't let you do it all alone. I don't need your help. My case is personal, and I'm seeking answers on my own. You shouldn't interfere in other people's business. Have you considered what we're feeling right now? Falling from a great height on your own. I'm sorry if we seem like stalkers to someone who tried to hurt himself, and even more so to that someone, our teacher, who gave us life and protected us. You're minding your own business. You're minding your own business, and I'm minding mine. It's easy to understand that. Even if you don't want help, you'll get it, and don't take it the wrong way. Try to understand us. Alpha, good job on everything you've been doing lately. Huh? What's that about? This is serious. You've been trying really hard. Thank you. Don't say it like that when you look at me like that. You know I'm idiot. I'll be fine. Besides, I know what you're trying to warn me about, and Delta already explained it to me. I've been dealing with it during my journey of self-discovery, and I've discovered things I didn't while I was in Midgar, and I'm taking steps to prevent what happened from happening again. Drying tears? Okay. I'll send another shadow tomorrow. We'll take turns visiting you. I'd rather it wasn't every day of the week. I'll see what I can do. Alpha sat next to me naturally. I had no problem accepting his request. I just looked at the stars to distract myself. Did you send Zeta to spy on me too? Zeta? No, I didn't give him any orders. I understand. She's worried, I guess. But I'll have a talk with her because I didn't order her to do anything. Okay. Let it go. You're overindulging her. You have the same problem with Delta. If you don't scold her, she'll become more like that. Answer me something. Why is the girl currently living with you? For some strange reason, the atmosphere became uncomfortable. She doesn't have a family, so I gave her a temporary home while I find one for her. If I were to explain to Alpha that he seduced me with money and is currently doing so, he would surely be upset with me. I'd rather explain to him that it was a gesture on my part. That's strange. I didn't know you liked children. I don't like them. But I couldn't just leave her alone. If I could. Good. Then I'm leaving. In a few days Delta will come to visit you. I miss you so much. Delta? But I can't see it yet. She said she wanted to see you, so I agreed. Could you consult me first before deciding what to do with me? I guess you deserve it. We all care. It's your responsibility as a leader to access it. You're right, I guess. Well, I'm leaving now. Alpha stood up and was about to disappear with his technique. Alpha. Thank you. It's okay. Take care, otherwise I'll come back. Yes, it's fine. Alpha disappeared from my sight with his technique. I stared at the sky for a few moments. The view was very pleasant, I suppose. A few minutes after lying down for a few moments to look at the landscape, I decided it was time to go downstairs, so I got off the roof and went back to the bathroom. I opened the bathroom door. Hannah was still sewing my suit. It had more shape now, to my surprise. The suit wasn't bad, the design was interesting. I returned. You were late. Are you further along? Yes. But I'm still having trouble molding this strange material. You have magical powers, don't you? You can try molding it with them. I can't. Thinking about using them still scares me. In that case, I'll lend you my power. Hey! I held Hannah's head and transferred some of my power/slime towards her. What did you do, bro? Try to imagine something and use the power I give you, not yours. Yeah? It's okay. Hannah closed her eyes and tried to imagine something. A small, dark mass began to form in her right hand, forming a tiny needle. Huh! This is... You still need practice. Besides, you're little. Making slime is one thing, but molding it is another. I'm not very good at it, but I'll teach you what I know and everything about slime. Maybe you'll find a creative way to use it like I couldn't. But didn't you say you didn't trust anyone? Why would you give me this ability? I could. If you tried to do something, it would be useless. How cold. Hannah blushed a little and a small smile formed on her face, barely visible. But this time I'm grateful for that. What time is it? I think it's barely midnight. It's late. I think you should go to sleep. Don't talk nonsense, brother. I can still go on. Teach me. All right. This life isn't so bad. End of flashback. What happened here? The rooms and much of the hotel were. It just can't be. Where are the old cultists? Something strange happened here. We have to report quickly. I was exploring the huge hotel there. When I tried to find Hannah, I couldn't find her anywhere. Did she stay in her room? It seems someone was here before me. Could it be a case? I continued forward, trying to find clues. I reached the end of the hallway and noticed a girl with white hair and black stripes asleep in the background, amidst all the bodies and the prelude. When I got a better look, it was Hannah. Had she died? I started to approach the end of the hallway. For some reason, the footsteps I was making were very loud. Could it be that I was applying too much force? Before reaching Hannah, a force pushed me away from the place and I crashed against the wall. When I stood up, I could see something strange. 2 enormous hands were near Hannah. They seemed hostile and lunged at me again. Using my sheet of paper from my book, I recharged it with my mana and threw it forcefully at one of the hands. When I did, the sheet had been pierced. I moved and avoided the attack of those hands altogether. Don't I pass through them? Could it be that they don't have a physical body? Interesting in that case. My slime suit began to cover my entire body, which I had previously dressed as a monk. The slime had deactivated and reactivated. The eminence in the shadows makes its appearance. The hands again launched themselves at Shadow, who dodged their attempts to attack. The building continued to be increasingly destroyed until Shadow noticed that the entire building began to collapse. Shadow moved and in a blink of an eye took Hannah on his shoulders and left the building. To Shadow's surprise, as soon as he grabbed Hannah, the hands hit him as if teleporting, causing him to drop her again from a great height. Teleportation? No. As soon as I lifted Hannah up, the blow was direct. Shadow began to fly over Hannah and tried to grab her, but before he could do so, the hands stopped him again. Shadow pounced on the hands while reciting a few words. I am Atomic Soul! The moment Shadow's sword collided with his hands, they began to burn. A strange voice began to emerge. Wa! Damn you, I won't give you Hannah! Hannah is mine, she's only mine! Atomic Reverse. Wa! The hands began to fade away as a white light emanated from them. A strange figure emerged, and a woman in a white dress appeared. She looked at Shadow, who was still confused by his attack. The strange woman only smiled. Take care of her. Dust clouded Shadow's vision, who with the help of mana in his eyes was able to see through it. Hannah was already a few meters away from falling. Annoyed, Shadow took part of his suit and threw it against the ground with force. The slime scattered as he fell. Shadow began to descend. Hannah was injured from the fall, but not as life-threatening as she would have been if the slime hadn't cushioned her fall. Shadow took her arm, and Hannah's wounds began to disappear. My room was destroyed. You caused me problems. I hope when you wake up you have gold as backup. Shadow carried Hannah with him as he flew away. Chapter 13. I was flying while carrying Hannah with me. For some reason, I felt a little nostalgic doing this. It kind of brings back old memories of my old life for some apparent reason. As I flew, I noticed some cabins along the way and an announcement welcoming me to Beggar City. I haven't explored the city in its entirety. Maybe I could find something. I think it would be best to reinterpret my role as a mob and go out to get more information about this city. Something useful will probably come in handy here. I think that will be a good. I felt my body light again for some strange reason. I grabbed my head, trying to prevent anything from happening again. Is this what Alpha and the others were talking about? Was I losing control of my body? I can't detect anything unusual about my body. My body works fine, why? Shadow stopped levitating and slowly began to fall while trying to stay in the air. Shadow looked at the ground while without any other options, still trying to cushion the impact. He couldn't hold on any longer and let himself fall to the ground. Before doing so, he decided to fall first as a shield for Hannah. Anyway, an impact like that wasn't going to hurt him much. I can't see anything. I looked at my arms and noticed I had my old uniform from my old life. Did I die? So me. Did the eminence and the shadows die like this? Death was probably my future destiny. But I wouldn't like knowing that I died before fulfilling my goals. You're not dead. Who are you? Where am I? For some reason this place gives off a strange aura. I don't like it, but it doesn't bother me either. This world was created millions of thousands of years ago. It was boring but somewhat interesting. But now here it is. It seems that after millions of millennia, the future I predicted has finally come true. Future? The words I heard echoed throughout the room, but I still couldn't see anything but my own figure. Everything was in absolute darkness, a truly solitary space. The day when an existence was going to be reincarnated and bring about the end of everything. Suddenly, the dark space began to shake strangely. When I tried to avoid staggering, the space shook more aggressively, as if my attempts to avoid staggering with mana were useless, and if I continued trying to avoid it, the space would only get stronger. I was able to capture a large image. It's everyone's future. The image started showing me different strange things. It was like watching a movie recorded in the 80s with an awkward silence that still permeated the entire place. I can't make sense of what I see. I only see things I've already seen. Among everything I observed, there were people traveling together to other places. People in kimonos enjoying celebrities and different traditions. Families and couples. The world seemed a little familiar. Was it Japan? As the template continued, suddenly the color of the world turned strangely red. The world burst into flames and everything went out. The image turned back on. I could see this time what seemed to be the world where I was reincarnated. Which was a color this time purple. The civilians were shown, some burned in those purple flames. Others only their bodies came out without more. The girls came out. They were all on fire, burning, and a laugh in the background began to sound. At the same time an image of a strange sword was observed and they all died. But the image was nothing less than the image of someone 16 years old with a dark suit and a long sword of the same color. Why am I looking at this? Was that person me? Stop the anomaly before it's too late. I heard a loud bang and woke up unexpectedly. When I looked up at the sky, I could see a lightning bolt that had completely disappeared. It was probably about to start raining. I had to move and get away from this area quickly. Apparently, I was near a river when I fell. I noticed Hannah was clinging to me, so I let go as I tried to get up. As I stood up, I used my hands as support on the ground to propel myself a little. When my hands touched the ground, they shook without any apparent strength. I fell again. Can I move my hands? So it was all a dream? I didn't die. But it was all a dream anyway. My body feels somehow disconnected from my soul. I don't notice anything unusual about myself, so why am I shaking? Could it be that I am grateful that I didn't die? The rain began to fall inevitably. When that happened, I covered Hannah with some slime as if it were a kind of blanket. The slime came out of my suit and was able to adhere to her. With the help of mana, I concentrated on my eyes and looked at Hannah's heart. I noticed that it was still beating normally. Probably nothing happened to her during the fall because I probably fell earlier. Apart from the fact that the height was not that great, I managed to lessen the impact a little by descending slowly and lowering the height. Even if I were a shield, if the height were higher, Hannah would probably have collapsed due to the high pressure. Naturally, it would not be a problem for me, but she probably would not withstand the fall. The anomaly ends. Interesting. I clenched my fists and forced myself to stand up again. My suit was somewhat dirty, and because of the rain that was falling on me, my body inevitably began to shake a little from the cold I felt. I picked Hannah up and put her on my back. Why am I caring so much about her now that I think about it? It's kind of annoying. But I guess I can't just leave her here. Should I fly again? But I'd probably risk falling again. I think I'll walk this time. I continued on my way and undid my slime suit, which was stored on my body, and left my normal mob appearance. Naturally, if someone saw me in my appearance of eminence in the shadows walking through the streets would weaken my presence as the eminence in the shadows. I continued on my way, now that I had left the river. I could see some structures/houses nearby. Now it was time to find a place where we could stay. As I continued, I noticed the presence of some people who stared at me strangely. Who is that boy? Will it be your relative? Poor them. What if he did something to the girl? Cid continued walking, ignoring all the comments. When he approached an apparent residence, he asked if there were still any rooms. Looking at the image of Cid, who was completely covered in water next to an apparent minor girl on his back, the manager got a little scared and immediately denied any available rooms. Cid just turned around and continued on his way. He asked in a few places, but they all told him the same thing. Minors not allowed. Not available. Sorry. Cid knew perfectly well that his words were lies, however he didn't insist it was not like him and simply walked away and continued what seemed like a loop. Hey kid. If you need it, you can stay one night. There's one room available. I understand. Thank you. How much will it be? Forget that and come inside. If you stay outside, you and that girl will catch a cold from the rain. I'll let you stay tonight. I understand. Are you going to let him in? Are you crazy? I wouldn't let those kids into my apartment, not even for fun. Cid moved and walked into the room that had been indicated to him by the man who had guided him. Before entering the apartment, Cid dried his shoes a little on a tarp so as not to dirty the floor. Afterwards, he continued walking and received a key to enter his room, as well as his room number. As he walked, his legs felt a strange sensation of weakness and his vision began to blur a little. I'm cold and tired. Was it the rain? Maybe it was a bad idea to take off my suit. Cid entered his room, opening the door with the key. As he did so, he closed it with his leg, pushing the door lightly. He looked at the small room where they were now going to stay for the night. The room looked cozier than the old room they were previously in. Although the floor was wooden, everything was clean and tidy. There were no cracks in the walls or cobwebs like the previous room. In a way, it didn't look bad, it looked classic and simple, something that Cid liked. He left Hannah on a sofa, leaving her lying down. The slime subsequently absorbed it, and he decided to cover her with the blanket that was near the sofa. It would be warmer, and in a way more comfortable than being with the slime that was now wet. Luckily for Cid, the slime at least prevented him from getting wetter than he could have been. Sit down even if it's just once. Cid walked towards a door. When he opened it, he noticed it was the bathroom and closed it. When he approached another one, he opened it, and the only room that had a bed could be seen. He approached the bed with the intention of sitting down, but as soon as he walked a little further, his knees weakened, and he fell slightly. The closer he got, the harder it was to stay standing. He had previously spent hours walking looking for a place to stay in the middle of the rain. Certainly he couldn't float to avoid another fall, but he couldn't run either because he was like a mob in the streets, and in a way his magic had felt weakened since that strange dream he had. He managed to get to the bed, however. Before he could lie down on it, His eyes closed, and he fell to the floor completely prone. He had now fallen asleep. It's my turn to go visit the boss. Poor naive wolf. Do you really think the boss is going to want to look at someone like you? Jiren and I can't stand you. Here they go again. Delta-san and Zeta-san fight a lot, don't they? Yes, but my support is always for Zeta-san. Really? I think Delta-san is prettier. That's not true. Zeta-san has them a little bigger, plus her eyes and ears are 1,000 times better. Her short skirt makes her sexier. No. Delta-san's charm is her long fluffy tail. Her ears look just as fluffy, and her breasts are definitely better. Her smile is the best, and she's strong. Although she doesn't visually have a short skirt like Zeta-san. That also gives her a strong touch. Zeta-san is better. No, Delta-san is better. Hiro and Jaga were arguing angrily while looking at each other with some hatred. Tell me, Cid, don't you think the same? Am I right or not? Zeta-san is the best feline in school. Definitely not. Delta-chan's overwhelming strength gives her a unique touch, doesn't it, Cid-san? Does the master really have these two guys as friends? No, perhaps Shadow-sama is just looking for some gold, but how would he respond? Cid? Cid? Sorry, I'm going to the bathroom. Hey! Cid got up from his seat and headed to the bathroom with the confused looks of Hiro and Jaga. Cid has been acting a little strange lately, hasn't he? Maybe she's not a virgin anymore? Impossible. If that were true, I'd kill him. Whatever. Zeta-san is better. No! Alpha watched Hiro and Jaga while holding his head lightly and closing his eyes. I guess this whole situation must be hard for 41 to deal with. I sometimes wonder what Cid is thinking. Alpha-sama, the student council meeting is about to begin. I understand. I'll be right there. What was it? My eyes opened, a little blurry, until I rubbed them with my hands. As I did, I noticed I was standing on a roof. When I looked in all directions, I found myself lying on a couch. The room somehow looked very different from the previous one. Where am I? Could it be that they kidnapped me? I got up from the couch and pushed back the sheet. I started pacing around the room I was in. I didn't notice anything strange. When I opened the door, I saw other rooms. So I was probably in an apartment, but everything looks different. Is it my imagination? Brother? Hannah explored the room she was in looking for Cid everywhere but couldn't find him anywhere. Kitchen/bathroom/main room/. Hannah only needed one other place to explore, and this one was closed. When she finally opened the door, Hannah felt a slight prick in her foot. When she bent down, she noticed that her brother Cid was on the floor. This caused Hannah to be surprised and in turn scared. She approached Cid and lifted him up face up, noticing that he was asleep. Brother? What happened? Please answer, brother. No, you don't. I don't want to. Hannah helplessly hit Cid's abdomen hard. This reaction caused Cid to suddenly wake up. Brother? Are you okay? Hannah? Are you awake yet? Shouldn't you be worrying more about yourself? You were lying on the ground. I thought something had happened to you. I've never seen her so excited. Did she find out I talked to Alpha? You don't know what a relief it is. Forget it. Where are we? The previous apartment was destroyed, so a man offered us one night here. Why was I? What happened? First I must Brother? Can you get up? Yeah. Cid tried to get up again, but he couldn't no matter how hard he tried. Hannah touched his forehead and noticed that Cid was burning up. You're very hot. Do you have a fever? I went out in the rain a while ago. I guess that's what it was. You went out in the rain? You didn't even bring an umbrella? It's nothing like that, it's tisk. Try to get up, you should go to bed. Hannah tried to help Cid get up because of his weight. Cid almost fell to the floor at times and Hannah had difficulty keeping him standing. Hannah managed to get Cid to lie down on the bed. Have you eaten anything yet? No. I'll try to get something. Are you going out? You need something for your fever, and you haven't eaten, And I'm hungry too. I don't need anything, I can get up. It's no use being a strong brother. Don't worry. I'll get something. Do you have anything you want to give me? If it's in it can't be. Brother? No. Hey. Damn, my gold stayed in the apartment in my room. My gold. Did you forget to pick it up? I didn't think they were going to destroy the whole place, and I forgot everything because of the battle I had as Grigory Rasputin. Damn it. It's only gold you can. It's not just gold, it was 100 coins that would cover my new collections, like Eminence, the expensive wine I was planning to buy, and the elegant suit that complemented Grigory Rasputin's. That's the most important thing in the universe. Where the hell is my gold? How strange you are. I'm going to kill them for taking my gold. Cid tried to lift you up, but his efforts were in vain, although he slowly managed to get me up just a little. Hey, stop, you're sick, you shouldn't get up. Shut up. I'll go get my gold. If you're so worried about your gold, I'll help you get it later, but you have to stay in bed. Do you promise me? Tisk, okay. But lie down. It's okay. My gold will come back. Anyway, now we have a problem. We'll need something to buy some things. Did you really not save anything? All my gold. Forget it, it seems like it hurts to remember it. Okay, I'll be right back. Hannah walked and left the room while Cid looked at the ceiling before stopping her. Hannah. Yeah? Don't you dare steal again. If you plan to get gold, be stealthy. I thought you were going to tell me something else. Spoiled brat, my gold won't go away. Tisk, I'm still helping you, and you thank me like this? Anyway, I'm leaving. Hannah closed the room while she sighed. She looked at her hands. She remembered a little bit of her mother, and the times she repeated to her that whatever the circumstance, not to do inappropriate things, otherwise there would be no turning back on the attitude that a person will have. But now it was all or nothing, she needed to help Cid and not be useless. If it was up to her, she could not eat. After all, she was used to not doing it to annoy Cid. But he needed to eat. Hannah looked at her bear while she sighed and held tightly to that bear that Cid had given her the first day he had attended to her. It was of an emotional value to her almost as much as her Rubik's Cube that her family had given her. Perhaps the only option to find the gold would be to sell her bear. But she certainly did not know if even selling that would be enough. And stealing in a certain way was not something she liked. The one who stole was always Shadow, she only guided him to places. It sounds strange because she was an accomplice, but after all it was not the same to do it with your hands than to guide, even if it was the same fault in the end. Now it was to do it alone by will. What decision was she going to make? Chapter 14. Destinations. The only option I have right now is to recover the gold my brother lost, but whether it's day, night, or dusk, I don't know if it's safe to return to that place. I can't steal or risk causing trouble for my brother if something were to happen. I can't cause any more trouble. But I need to bring something back for him. If something goes wrong, will I have to use it? I hope it won't be necessary. I don't want to do it again. I opened the doorknob to the room and left. Now I had a specific direction, to find resources for my brother Cid and get something to eat, but I need money. I don't know how far away the place we were before is, but that gold seemed important to my brother. I guess he owes me one. Hannah walked now toward the place where everything happened in that room. Without anything with which to find her brother's gold, the little girl asked different civilians for directions about where she could find the hotel where they had stayed, thanks to the fact that she remembered the name of the hotel. Casa Beggar, as simple as that. Several people froze a little upon hearing that name, unable to avoid it. Some others only gave answers without specifying exactly what they wanted to give her anything useful. It seemed that everyone knew what happened in that place and wanted to avoid mentioning it somehow. Among the many people, one person with glasses and short blue hair with a white Veda approached little Hannah as she walked. He called her Small. Hey! You say you need to know where a hotel is located, right? Don't worry, I'm not a bad person. I'm here to give you the information you're looking for. Why should I trust you? By asking anyone, will you trust their words? I can tell if they're lying or not, but I'm not interested in a stranger telling me. No one knows anything about the place you're looking for, and even if they did, they won't tell you anything for their own well-being. Own what well-being? It's dangerous to talk in this place, so follow me if you're looking for answers. But if you don't want to follow me, that's your decision. That person began to move away among the people. The little girl clenched her fists a little while looking at the ground a little. If this was a good or bad decision, regardless, she needed to know something. She accepted and moved. This person is. What do you know? For just a girl, you're very determined. I can see it in your eyes. If you don't have anything for me, I'm leaving. You don't have to worry. I'm just another person in this world who has nothing else to do but get into trouble. Get into trouble? It's better that you don't find out anything. This city used to be beautiful before. You know? But people now live in nothing but a false world. It's probably not the only place where this happened. What are you talking about? I still remember when. This city was known for our cult, which worshipped a supreme being. It is said that in this city, when we prayed, it was synonymous with good luck. The atmosphere was peaceful, we all lived in harmony. But unfortunately, they appeared and ruined everything. They? Ironically, I used to dismiss them as the worst when I was your age. Because they took everything from me. The happiness of this city, they took what was left of me. But still, how ironic. Labeling people as good or bad isn't always a mistake. It can also be based on what you see and what you judge. Even people your age can judge someone as bad just by seeing a bad action, without looking behind their actions. Why you surprise me? You completely understand, so your generation is like this now? No. It's just logic. Logic? I wonder what logic is according to today's kids. Simple. When something is possible or not possible by analyzing a determining outcome. Oh? You're very intelligent for your age. How old are you? It's not relevant. You know why I came. Ha ha ha, you really are unique. You are very different from the kids I know your age. It doesn't even seem like you're younger than 12, judging by your appearance. I'll answer your question. What you're looking for no longer exists. I know that. Oh? And what's your curiosity about going to that place despite that? You probably don't know, but that place. It used to be known as the Judgment Hotel. Trial Hotel? Why in that place? People sent their children so that God would give them his blessing with the approval of Beggar's own church. If the children endured the process, they were worthy of living in Beggar City, otherwise they weren't, but God would give them something better. It was nothing more than words. It was all a trap, and the city knew it, but what good would it do to know? Those who opposed it, those who denied it, disappeared. We were forced to give loyalty to only one God in this world. The devil. What did you say? Are you going to tell me the location of the place, or are you just going to waste more of my time? Why are you interested in going there? If you go, you probably won't come back. If someone from the church sees children there, a tragic fate awaits them. How did I suppose it? You're not going to tell me either. Hannah stood up from where she was sitting talking to that person, and just looked away and proceeded to leave, but before she could leave, a small voice that had whispered in her ear caught her attention. Go 3 kilometers south and cross the barrier, Hannah-san, but don't be late or Mom will get mad at you. The little girl turned her gaze, surprised to hear a voice surprisingly familiar to her. When she looked at the figure that was accompanying her, she noticed that he was no longer there. You. Zeta-sama, are you sure what you plan to do? Yeah. There will be no turning back at this point from your decision. What you are about to do will be completely without the permission of Alpha-sama or Shadow-sama. If I don't act now, the teacher's life will be in danger. I didn't expect to have to resort to this quickly, but I don't have any more time. But we have been spying on Shadow-sama as you have asked us to, and nothing has happened. Shadow-sama is fine. I don't mind. Zeta-sama. Do you have any objections? No. The resurrection of the devil demon is still incomplete. We have Claire-sama's body as the perfect vessel, however. There are still more pieces to complete. Tisk. Only a large amount of mana will bring back the demon Diabolos, which is why his entire body is needed to put the pieces together. Diabolos is unique in this world. No one has the same amount of mana as him, not even Shadow-sama. That's why his pieces are needed, however. Something's up, Zeta-sama. Victory. At your service, Zeta-sama. Victoria approached with a few documents in hand, leaving everyone present intrigued, except for Zeta, who already knew what Victoria had in mind. According to what I've gathered with my companions, including Zeta-sama's help, while spying on Shadow-sama to make sure he's okay and nothing has happened to him, we noticed a strange event a few days ago. Strange event? Shadow-sama has been taking care of a little girl for some time now, according to what we've learned. A girl? Why would Shadow-sama live with a? Zeta-sama and I have detected something abnormal. A few days ago, the room where Shadow-sama resided was attacked. We suspect it was by undercover members of the Diabolos cult. Both the girl and Shadow-sama were attacked, but Shadow-sama, as expected, took it upon himself to punish them as they deserve. Shadow-sama! Oh wow, I'm jealous that someone can live with him. I should be there. Victory. What we found next was something strange. When we spied on the girl, she was cornered by several members posing as cultists from Beggar's Church. We planned to take action and prevent their plans, but we detected a large mana in her, and within seconds everyone was found dead. That wasn't the only thing. When Shadow-sama apparently arrived, he had a small encounter with something. He was the one who caused the destruction of the area where Shadow-sama was already living. He was able to deal with it, but while Zeta-sama and I analyzed everything, we detected that the energy was coming from the little girl Shadow-sama was taking care of. Apparently that girl must be an anomaly or has something to do with the Diabolos cult. Perhaps that is why the master personally took charge of raising her without telling us. The Seven Shadows is probably another of his advanced plans. However, while our faction was investigating, we detected that Shadow-sama's energy declined again. We are still investigating what could have happened, but what I feared most happened was that the master weakened again like that time. The only possible suspicion I can generate is that that girl has something to do with it. Wait, Zeta-sama, don't you think blaming a little girl for Shadow-sama's condition is... That girl probably has more things we don't know. We need to investigate more about her, and to do that, we need to bring her to Claire-sama. She could be useful in resurrecting the Diabolos demon and bringing immortality to the master. But 380, do you have something to say? No. Don't you think that if Shadow-sama finds out about your plan, he'll be upset with you? He's doing this on his own. He's never liked us meddling in his business without consulting him first. I know that the plan to resurrect him is out of the ordinary, and that even without Shadow-sama's agreement it's coherent and logical, but this is completely different. I don't plan on Master forgiving or apologizing for what I'm about to do. I was ready from the moment I planned to bring immortality into his possession. If Master will be okay with all eternity and safe from danger is enough for me. I will do everything in my power to fulfill my goal, even if it means betraying Shadow Garden. More victory reports. From what we've seen, the Diabolos cult also seems to be strongly intrigued with the girl who is with Shadow-sama. Last time we investigated the entire place, we found 3 strangely strong energies. We suspect they were members of the Round Table. 3 of the table in one place. There'll be a problem to deal with. We must get the girl before they do. I won't let the plan I'm creating be ruined by those idiots again. My body still feels hot and I feel a bit weak. I think I can't move yet. Even though I use magic to heal, it takes a while. I hate catching a cold. My roof window was violently opened, and a scream was heard. I visualized a bit of who it was. Long ears, long tail, dark clothing. Basu! Delta? What are you doing here? Finally it was my turn to visit you, hee. At last? Let's go hunting. Wait. I can't move to do what you're asking. Hey! I'm sick. So I need to rest. Sick Disu? You don't know what that is. Delta shook her head, denying Cid's answer. Being sick is when your body enters a state where you can't move for a while. It's not something that normally happens, but it's not serious. I simply can't move even if I want to. It would be very complicated for Delta to explain what it means to get sick from scratch, so this was the best explanation I could give her. At least this way, she wouldn't try to insist that I go hunting. For once, I was able to get away with it, although not in the way I expected. The boss can't move? No. Delta would lie down next to her master's bed while curled up on the floor. In that case, Delta will wait for the boss to get better and will accompany him, Disu. Don't mark the ground. Delta, could you explain one thing to me? What's this about Disu? Why is Alpha bossing everyone around lately? I'm not allowed to talk about that, boss. My orders are higher than Alpha Delta. I order you to tell me. But if Alpha-sama finds out about my snacks, he won't find out because we won't tell him anything. Ah, really? Yeah. WL. Alpha-sama has been organizing shifts for everyone to come and take care of you every day lately, but then for some strange reason, Alpha-sama made it only weekly. At least he listened to my words about how that would be invading my privacy completely. Okay, Alpha. Let's compete against each other in a battle, Disu, and whoever wins gets to take care of you. This time I won, Disu. A competition? What's Alpha thinking, making them all fight each other? And more importantly, why wasn't I invited? Did I do it right, boss Disu? Yes, you did well. I'm the best. Pet my head, boss. It's okay. Pet Delta's head. Who won? Well, the first to win was Alpha-sama Disu. Is that why he showed up last week without explanation? Afterwards it was a bit complicated, but I managed to beat them all, Disu, and I won. Although this one didn't fight. So Delta was second, huh? So she's the second strongest of the 7 shadows? It makes sense. Physically, she's the best of them all, but she lacks mana and her impulses. But despite those limitations, she managed to win. Without a doubt, if Delta knew how to control herself better and use her mana better, she'd be even more powerful. Next week there will be another competition, but those of us who won can't participate until everyone finishes their shift. Disu. I understand. Tell me, boss, what have you been doing lately? Do you live here now? I'm on a mission, so I need to change locations constantly. Top secret mission? Yes, something like that. Delta wants to join. Sorry, you can't. Huh? Why not? Why is it an exclusive mission of mine that I alone must do? But it's not fair, Disu. Well, in that case I want you to help a girl. She has white hair with black markings and red eyes. Help a girl, Disu? That's right. She's important to my mission. She's part of the secret mission. But she probably won't be able to carry it out alone. She needs your special help. The mission is very important, and it's of utmost importance to find my lost gold in a location. Understood, boss. Leave it to me, Disu. Delta got up from the ground and was about to move, but before doing so Cid stopped her by holding her tail. Not from the tail. Wait. Do you even have any idea where this is? Hey. Use this and track with your scent until you find my gold. Cid handed a handkerchief to Delta, who took it in confusion, but at the same time sniffed the handkerchief. It was part of the tunic of the men who had attacked the hotel. I want you to find my Delta gold. Understood, Disu. Delta. Huh? I can't lose my gold, so I trust you with this mission because you're the only one who can solve this cruel case that torments me. That gold is the most important thing in the world. If you don't get it back, it will be a failed mission. I'll be sad. Alpha will be sad. We'll all be sad, especially me. So Delta, I'm going to tell you again. I want you to get my gold back. Don't lose sight of it, bring me everything so you don't miss a single cent, and if someone has it I don't care what happens to them, but I want my gold. Do what you want, but my gold back, Delta. I understand, Disu. Okay, now go, and one last thing. When you get in, don't do it that way, breaking the windows. I'm the one who has to pay for that, and I don't like it. Huh? But why not? Do it. Okay, Disa. Very well, Delta, now go. Yes. I'll hunt down everyone who stole your boss Basu. And I'll get your gold back. Okay, do exactly that, but one more thing, Delta. Don't tell Alpha or anyone what I told you, as we promised. Yeah. Delta left the window in the direction of looking for his master's gold. Cid stayed in bed while a confident smile appeared on his face. Now with Delta's help, Cid could trust that his gold would return. Is this the city of Bega that the reports have made? That's how it is. Interesting. Our target is located in this city, but we must be careful. The plan will work out perfectly, Loki-sama. If you fail, don't you dare return to my presence. Whatever you say. Chapter 15. I started walking south. That strange voice I heard. Was it my imagination? She was no, it can't be possible that Elisabeth-san is still. How strange my weak face feels. A few tears began to fall from Hannah's eyes. These tears had been a strange sensation she'd felt for so many years. So many years that she hadn't been able to shed a single tear on her face. Now her face felt completely vulnerable. The memory of an old friendship touched that heart that had been frozen for years. The fiber of a heart that only sought happiness. A wound from the old past reopened. Elisabeth-san. I continued on my way and clenched my fists. Maybe it was an illusion, maybe it wasn't. But the only thing I know is that I can never forget the promise I made with you to live for all of you. Before, I only thought about dying, being alive. It didn't matter to me whether I was still alive or not. But Elisabeth-san, you were always very kind to me until the end, and I'm sure that if you saw that I didn't value my life enough, you would be sad. All of you gave me a reason to continue living. I thought I would never get out of this prison, but now that I can know what freedom is like again, I will not waste the opportunity one have now, thanks to all of you. Hiya, I'm exhausted. Delta-san is very strong. We didn't stand a chance. Even with the best strategy, are we still behind? But I wanted to see Shadow-sama. I lost first again. Did Shadow-sama do something wrong? Ganma looked at her fist with complete disappointment, as she gave a long sigh. The idea of being weak and not measuring up bothered her. It wasn't so much her desire to see Shadow that made her feel powerless, but the fact that she was physically the weakest of the 7 shadows was something that certainly damaged her spirit. Her pride wasn't like Delta's or Alpha's, but even she felt the weight of being weak. She applied all the advice she could that Shadow gave her with the knowledge of the shadows, but she hasn't made much progress. She fell behind all of their expectations. Ganma-san? Epsilon touched Ganma's shoulder, who only gripped his sword as he slowly walked away. I'm fine. What's going on? Ganma-san is acting a little strange. How strange? Tisk. Zeta hit the wall with some anger as she began to retreat. She was also angry at the rottenness of losing in that last clash between Zeta and Delta. Because her physical resistance was lower than Delta's, she couldn't withstand the accumulated damage and fell first. It was admitting that her rival had beaten her and even worse, a fool in intelligence. That bothered her even when using all her learned techniques she lost. Huh! Is it just me or is everyone acting a little strange? Well, if it were up to Shadow-sama, I'd be upset too. Besides, Zeta-san and Delta-san have a rivalry. You know how Zeta-san must feel. I guess you're right. Next time I won't lose. I don't think we can beat Zeta-san. With that attitude you two will never do it. Alpha-sama? If you want to get stronger, train and think as if it were your last day and it was all about him. If you stay stagnant, you won't be able to help Shadow. I understand. I will do that. I continued on my way. I took some shortcuts and was able to arrive a little early. I still can't fully use my powers, although I was able to float a little to advance further. Apparently I had managed to reach the destination I was looking for, the hotel in Bega City. The hotel clearly looked in ruins from the last time I was with my brother. Although I didn't have the opportunity to fully witness what had happened. To my surprise, I could notice that there were people nearby. Judging by their appearance, it's probably not a good idea to interact with them. I cautiously approached the hotel, which was already in ruins. I stopped floating and started walking, hiding among the rubble. I got a little closer, but not too close to be noticed. Are you saying it's coming to this location? That's right. I can tell thanks to my prediction skill. If this mission goes well, you may be promoted to the Round Table, replacing Fenrir-sama. You prove that your skills, especially your prediction ability, are useful to the cult. But if you fail, not only will you not be promoted, but there will be serious repercussions. You have nothing to worry about, Pitos-sama. After all, my skill never fails. I hope so. The mission was assigned to me by Loki-sama Lucia, intrigued by my research on Experiment 89B, but he was more interested in my hypothesis about that anomaly and its repercussions. If everything goes well, my position in the cult will be more visible. But I'm not very interested in that. After all, the original plan is and always will be to revive Diabolos, isn't it? Although if this anomaly is as my hypotheses suggest, I won't need more of the Diabolos cult. It's a very important sample for them to have. After all, I can take care of it perfectly. Excuse me, Pitos-sama, but wouldn't that be betraying the devil cult? Oh, I wouldn't say betray. I'd say the word improve is more appropriate. But you don't worry and just follow my orders. Even if you ascend to the Round Table, or the elite of the cult in that case, your power and abilities are far from those of the original Round Table. And those who have passed away, therefore the position is more than just a position, earning respect and having relevance is something different. I understand. The facilities appear to be as secure as you indicated. That's right. There's probably no need to interfere. We have company. Pitos held in his hands a small artifact of reddish blood which he had used to create the same artifact. This one was small. Pitos quickly threw the artifact back. The artifact had almost hit Hana, who moved quickly, dodging Pitos's attack attempt. Shortly after, a small capsule was revealed as the artifact fell, revealing that it was a sealing instrument which had failed. Good reflexes. TSK. But how is it possible that you… Did you really think I wouldn't notice your presence? I think you're very bold to come here alone. Where's your guardian angel, Shadow? What are you looking for from him? Pitos-sama, I don't detect any external energy other than that of this brat. Probably the leader isn't with her right now. That's a shame. The anti-shadow plan will have to wait. But that's probably okay. Even our plan had doubts it would work against the leader. Without him here, it will be very easy for me to achieve my goal. CHT again, I have to deal with this alone. How much longer do I have to put up with these guys who appear out of nowhere and want to kill me? Am I a problem? Was it a problem that I was born? What the hell are they looking for? Why do they want to ruin my life now that I finally have what I was looking for? Why didn't I die when I didn't want to live and now they want to kill me? This is already tedious and annoying. Anti-shadow plan? Don't worry, your dear leader and his faction will soon join you. I will have mercy on you. You will serve me well. The partner in vests began to move while releasing his weapon. A pair of long, sharp blades headed towards Hana, and as soon as he began to advance, he lunged at Hana and tried to cut her in two. Hana did a somersault and dodged the attempted attack, to the surprise of the member of the Diabolos cult. You managed to dodge my attack. I see you're not as weak as I thought. Interesting. I don't think I stand a chance against these two guys. I'm at a clear disadvantage, and I can sense a very strong presence with that guy wearing glasses. At this point, my only options are fight or flight, but I don't think I can. The only option I have is… Oh! A small pink/red aura began to surround the little girl. The aura made the little girl begin to float slightly, her feet barely touching the ground. She focused her gaze on her target. Die. Hana launched herself at the cultist at high speed. She landed a kick on him. The force was so intense that even her attempt at blocking sent him flying away from the little girl. Use your power and don't let yourself be controlled. Use your power and don't let yourself be controlled. Use your power and don't let yourself be controlled. Hannah also her hand and made the cult member rise. In response, to Hannah's surprise, he managed to free himself from the control. The cult member's increase in power had taken an unexpected turn now. I am known as Darius Falcon, future roundtable of the Diabolos cult. I didn't think you were that strong. I can tell you have interesting skills, but unfortunately, you're not on my level. Reddish marks began to appear on Darius's faction as a reddish energy began to surround his body. A small glow began to emerge from his eyes. What's going on? In a blink of an eye, Hannah felt a sharp pain in her chest. She fell to her knees as soon as she felt the stab in her chest. A little blood began to fall from her mouth. Jaya. This isn't personal, but the devil's cult will do whatever it takes to emerge victorious. Hannah also hit her arm in discomfort and caused a shock wave. The shock wave was such that Minister Darius was pushed a few meters by surprise. The little girl held her abdomen in pain while looking at Darius in anger. The little girl's gaze made the minister feel a sudden strong presence for a few moments. What is this feeling? Die. A few cubes surrounded the white-haired girl. Her aura had become more violent, and had also increased while her eyes lingered longer in their crimson color. This time her gaze was focused on a single objective. Prime Minister Darius visualized the possible futures of his right eye. In each future, he was gutted / crushed / dead / half-dead / deformed. No future was exact. His right eye only gave sinister results. For a few moments, his soul felt a chill. There is no future to escape. With a bit of despair from so many wrong futures, his left eye tried to see the solution to his problem. His left eye indicated some directions from which he could try to avoid problems. Prime Minister's ability prevention. His ability has two functions. It allows him to know the future for approximately 10 seconds in case of a combat, as the limiting factor. These 10 seconds for someone as strong as him are useful to predict any attack / ability attempt. His ability as a spy allows him to predict future actions with his right magic eye that will have an event. Normally his ability only activates when he accumulates a large amount of magic in his left eye. For a battle it could help him predict many movements and things. But it is a disadvantage if used in real combat due to the wear and tear it causes. To solve this, he made some pills which he uses in a small bottle. These act as energizers. In small capsules, the nutrients he needs come from them and which he loses when using his ability, allowing it to be taken advantage of. But if he exceeds it, serious consequences can occur. His left eye ability, which complements his 10-second prediction ability, allows him to see everything that will happen in an area where his eye focuses on his target. He predicts possible attacks / falling objects from all directions. His ability is known as the Magic Eyes. He gained great relevance in the cult of devils thanks to his discoveries and was even considered for a future roundtable discussion. The cubes headed toward Prime Minister Darius. He simply began to move, dodging the little girl's attack attempts. Pitos, on the other hand, moved away from the scene while watching in the distance. It's probably a good opportunity to capture her, but this will be the best way to find out if you're worth replacing Fenrir-sama. Don't you think so? Darius-san? Great darkness. A large amount of dark mana began to come out of Darius's left arm. He approached the little girl at maximum speed. Hannah, on the other hand, tried to throw all the cubes towards the Prime Minister, who kept his eyes on Hannah and not lose sight of her. The slightest mistake could be fatal. Such wear on his eyes was such that the Prime Minister had to hurry, otherwise if the 10 seconds passed, he would lose his ability for a few seconds and Hannah would have the advantage. She needed to find the exact moment where she could defend herself without needing her ability. All the futures I see show me thousands of steps, it's exhausting. If my ability is deactivated I won't be able to follow the steps and I'll be caught. It's the first time I'm at my limit. If I didn't have my prevention a long time ago, this brat could have killed me. -7 seconds for the deactivation of the prevention magic skill. Death magic. A purple sphere came out of Minister Darius, which he threw at Hannah. The sphere was countered with a cube. The cube, upon making contact with the sphere, made it disappear, much to the Prime Minister's surprise. His sphere had disintegrated before his eyes. Minus 5.51 seconds. Great darkness. The blades that Minister Darius had with him had been illuminated by darkness. He continued advancing. Hannah tried to throw more cubes at the minister, who barely dodged them with his prevention skill. The prevention skill was slowly diminishing its effects. Nexus elements. 4 spheres of different magic had come out of the minister's arm, which he had thrown at the little girl. Hannah tried to throw the cubes at the 4 spheres, but as they almost collided with the other 4, they acted on their own and dodged the magic cubes on their own as they headed even closer to the little girl. An explosion resonated in the room as the 4 elements collided with the little girl. More cubes had managed to stop the impact and the 4 elements were absorbed. Hannah began to turn around searching for her opponent, and a presence was felt. Hannah also looked up, finding the Prime Minister, who had a large blade. He had used his 4 elements as a distraction. But not only that, the 4 elements could deactivate the magic within their reach for a few seconds. This moment left Hannah vulnerable to a perfect counterattack. Minus 2 seconds to deactivate the prevention ability. It's now or never! But what? Prime Minister Darius moved away when he felt a strange presence. A strong sensation had moved him away, as if it were a great shock that hurt his bones. Suddenly he felt something strange. His left arm could not feel it at all. When he looked at his arm, he noticed that one of the cubes had touched it and had disintegrated his arm. More cubes surrounded the Prime Minister. It can't be those cubes, didn't my ability work? Shit, if that happens to me, I'll be. The cubes were about to touch the Prime Minister's face. He broke out in a cold sweat as he looked at what could be the last thing he would ever see. His last glance was of that little girl, whom he only observed with such cold serenity that it pierced his soul with impact. He thought that he was going to die, not that he was going to have a destiny, but that death. That's what he thought. A flash appeared and a large capsule surrounded the small one from behind, who turned around before she could do anything. The capsule suppressed the entire place where she was and enclosed her. Her presence was vanished and the cubes had disappeared. Good job, Prime Minister Darius. I've seen enough. Pitos-sama? To be honest, I didn't think you could hold out for so long against that anomaly. It seems that the records I had of her, thanks to Fenrir-sama and Mordred-sama, are correct, and my hypotheses and deductions are true. She hides a great power that could even be compared to what terrorized the entire world 1,000 years ago. But even that small anomaly takes time to release everything. If it had taken 1 second longer to launch it, it would have failed. I didn't think you were that strong. I used every means possible and still almost fell against that little girl. I regret my weakness, Pitos-sama. Come on, cheer up a little. After all, Mordred-sama didn't even stand a chance against her. It's illogical that you would have a chance. Mordred-sama too? I deduced that against Mordred she unleashed more power. The power we've seen from her is overwhelming, but it doesn't compare to the higher rounds, so we were probably just lucky this time. It wasn't necessary for her to use that. Well, our work is done here, let's go back. Understood. Stop there. Pitos and Darius turned their gazes and looked at what looked like a girl with a long ponytail and yellow hair. A large tail of the same color, and a red outfit with light golden touches. Long ears of the same color as her beautiful hair. She was accompanied by what looked like her companions, who had clothing similar to the one she was wearing. Who are you? You are. Zeta clenched her fists while gritting her teeth in anger. As she looked at Pitos, she suddenly began to remember everything Pitos had caused to her and her village. A feeling of helplessness began to spread through her body as she focused her gaze on Pitos, who was simply confused by who the visitors were. You two will not get out of here alive. Everyone in the devil cult deserves to die. I see those dark clothes, so you are Shadow Garden? Shadow Garden? Chapter 16. Murder becomes a habit. It is one of the phrases that the detective, Hercule Poirot, left to the world. Murder becomes a habit. The meaning of this phrase doesn't refer to a person who has killed a human being and suddenly develops a taste for murder, committing more crimes to satisfy their desires. Rather, it refers to the fact that, once someone solves their problem through murder, whenever another problem arises, they will think about trying to solve it again through murder. Murder becomes a habit. By the time you start to consider that murder is not an option, something very important will have already changed. In fact, even if he were someone who never murdered of his own free will, even if he disliked murder and even if he glimpsed the memories of the murdered person, that habit does not disappear. Murder becomes a habit. The habit doesn't go away. Murder becomes a habit. You two will not leave this place alive. Oh, we know. You guys are hunting us in the shadows, aren't you? Although I'm a little curious. How did you find out about my plans for this little girl? It's not something you're interested in knowing, and we don't have to tell you. If you're part of the devil's cult, you'll die, no exceptions. Zeta-sama is more euphoric than usual. It's rare for her to take the initiative against someone. What's going on? Wait, that face. I think I've seen it somewhere. It's OH, is that possible? Tisk. Ha 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 ha, wow, who would have thought? You're that girl? Before Pitos could utter another word, he was caught in a slash from behind by Zeta, who had injured him with a round weapon riddled with spikes. Zeta had disappeared and reappeared almost instantly. His speed? The blue smoke denied such existence. It was the vampire ability. The blue mist. GGUH? Quite slow. What was that technique? I couldn't observe it at any time. It was able to attack Pitos-sama in an instant. I told you that you two wouldn't get out alive. Pitos started to get up, but before he could stand up completely, he felt a crunch. His ribs were broken. When he realized what the cause could be, Zeta had kicked his ribs with her left leg before Pitos could move freely. GGUH. CHT. Prime Minister Darius mobilized at such an action. Using his prevention skill, he again attempted to attack the mysterious woman in front of him with his sword. His sword was about to touch what appeared to be his opponent's neck, but before he could achieve such a feat, a clash of swords resounded and prevented his sword from getting any closer to its target. A tall woman with long violet hair and blue eyes wearing dark robes stopped his attempted attack with a dark sword. You will be my victim now. Tisk. Zeta began to approach Pitos, who began to cough blood, while his glasses fell to the ground due to the impact he received. He began to lift them with some difficulty while smiling confidently despite the situation that was occurring. This situation caused displeasure in Zeta, who kicked Pitos harder and sent him a few meters away again. I'd spoil you if possible. But first I need you to answer a few questions. How naive you are. Do you really think a round table of the devil cult would tell you anything? You will do it. Zeta threw a kunai formed of slime which pierced Pitos' left hand, which lost some fingers due to the force exerted. Such action made Pitos let out a moan of pain while Zeta continued kicking Pitos. The sounds of his bones continued to sound. Zeta was looking for something more than to get information from Pitos. She wanted to give him the most painful death she could, if possible, leave Pitos alive for 1 week while she continued to torture Pitos. Despite the fact that Zeta no longer cared about his past or who he was before joining Shadow Garden or what Pitos did, deep down in the white-haired girl's heart, she was looking for something. She was looking to fill that void that remained despite everything. She was looking for revenge. Haha, you're really strong, aren't you? GGUH. And to think that you would be one of the elite members of Shadow Garden. The world is strangely coincidental. Shut your mouth. Zeta crushed Pitos' right arm with his foot to the point of breaking his bone. Faced with such action, Pitos creaked again in pain, but this time with more intensity due to the damage that was caused to him. Will you tell me where you hid the girl? What is your goal in getting it? Zeta pressed the broken arm of the bibs, making him moan again in pain while he was on the ground completely motionless. Only I asked the questions. Where did you hide it? Even if I die here, I'll probably die. I'm not worried about it at all. So you're not afraid of death, huh? I can assume you have some plan against me that makes you feel like death isn't important. You are perceptive, ha. What's that plan? What's going to save you from this situation? You're going to die here anyway. A magician never reveals his tricks, ha. Last chance? Where did you hide it? It's a shame that you only have one life in this world, don't you think? But, that doesn't matter, everything is going as I had planned. My colleagues will continue my wonderful coup research. Tisk. Zeta held Pitos by the tie and hit him angrily while Pitos just continued smiling. He was constantly hit by Zeta. Where did you hide it? I still remember that moment, it was amazing how I killed her, wasn't it? Zeta-chan lives, what beautiful words. Tisk. Zeta began to hit Pitos harder, who continued smiling. Pitos' smile, despite being massacred by Zeta, bothered the latter. Zeta was about to hit Pitos again until something stopped her arm before continuing to hit Pitos. The feline's instincts, and her heart wanted to attack Pitos until he died. But her brain and soul clearly had different goals. If she let herself be carried away by anger for someone who had killed something from her past that will not return no matter how much she hits it, she was going to lose her main goal that interested her the most: the immortality of the person who saved her life. What's wrong? Aren't you going to kill me? I can tell by your look that's what you're after. The people I've killed always have despair, even if they seek death. In the end they have regrets in their souls. But you don't have it, and if you don't have it, it's because you're planning something. And like I told you before, you're going to die. But you're not going to die now. Because before that, you'll bring the truth to light, even if it means using all the means necessary to do so. And when you utter a simple word, you won't even realize it when you're dead. Pitos looked at the feline's attitude confused. His plan clearly wasn't going as he expected at all, but in any case it hadn't reached any point that was critical. While Pitos analyzed the situation, looking at his other subordinate who was having difficulties against Victoria and the other numbers, he only sighed, and at the moment of looking at him, Prime Minister Darius, who was concentrated in his fight against the girls, he looked at his boss who was in a critical situation. Before he could do anything, he understood the look of his superior and the plan. Now everything made sense and everything was in motion. His look was a simple sign. Get out of here. They are more persistent than I thought. But this isn't over yet, unfortunately for you. Darius took a strange object with a snake head out of his pocket. The numerouses and Victoria, noticing this, especially Victoria, assumed it was an artifact, so they prepared all their weapons while continuing to concentrate on their opponent. To their surprise, Prime Minister Darius threw the artifact to the ground, and as he did so, a multi-layered magic circle began to form on the ground where he was standing. Before anything could happen, a blue energy emerged from the circle and caused a large layer of smoke. Victoria pounced on the layer of smoke, thinking that the enemy was trying to escape. Unfortunately for Victoria, she noticed that there was no one there and the mana that was there a few moments ago had disappeared. The Prime Minister disappeared from the scene. Where the hell is it? Shit, the coward escaped. Tisk. Ha, that's a shame. It's a little late for you, don't you think? Zeta violently ripped Pitos' arm off. This action by Zeta caused Pitos' smile to completely disappear and change to an expression of pain and total astonishment as he continued to moan in pain louder than he had ever been in his life. Your voice bothers me. Where is it? Ha! Zeta hit Pitos' head so hard that he was knocked out, much to Zeta's displeasure, who could no longer stand his annoying smile. Victoria and the other numbers approached Zeta, who had already finished his work. They knelt down to Zeta. Zeta-sama, we regret to inform you that the companion of the Diabolos cult member has disappeared. We suspect it was because of an artifact. So your plan was always this? Zeta clenched her fists as she began to walk in the opposite direction and continued to think about what plan Pitos was bragging about so much that even her life stopped mattering to her. Even if it were someone else, vengeful Zeta could feel, thanks to her feline instinct, that people were afraid. But Pitos was a special case. He didn't feel any fear towards Zeta despite his last moments, and even losing his arm only silenced his smile, but his soul continued to laugh. Certainly Zeta disliked him a lot. Zeta-sama, what do we do with this guy? Take him to our faction's base and lock him up. We'll keep an eye on him. Have 2 Numos watch him, and when he wakes up, let me know. He's sure to know what I'm looking for. If we kill him, it'll be a loss to our plan. I'm going to torture him until he has no choice but to tell me where he's hiding the anomaly. Understood. 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 Zeta-sama, I have a question. Shall we notify Alpha-sama? No. But Alpha-sama is minding his own business and I'm minding mine, so no. Understood. The Numeros who were with Victoria carried Pito's unconscious body and carried him up with them. One of the Numeros began to treat Pito's amputated right arm, which began to bleed uncontrollably. This was all to prevent the hemorrhage that was caused and prevent Pito's from dying from bleeding. Zeta and Victoria went ahead as they continued their steps. They all began a quick inspection of the place before leaving to find out anything else from Pito's if he had something in store. The Numers found some intruders who tried to go through the scandal, but they were all knocked out before even trying anything. Zeta felt in her chest that something else was going on, but there was nothing or any proof that it was happening. And a feeling of unease combined with a strange feeling haunted her in her mind, but she continued exploring what she could find that would give me an answer. A clash of dark swords began to echo somewhere in the world. Those 2 swords continued to clash continuously without rest for several minutes. The sword on the left side staggered a little, which was taken advantage of by the sword on the right side to counterattack, but before it could do anything the sword on the left side became a bow and the sword on the right side a shield, and both blocked each other constantly. The clash ended and both separated. That's enough. Beta and Epsilon put away their weapons upon hearing the Lambda signal. Meanwhile, the numerous novices present watched the masterful combat of both swordswomen who were part of the 7 Shadows group. Given the level they had demonstrated, it was clear that it was impossible to reach one. There was applause and respect for this fight when it ended. The result was a clear tie when the Lambda signal was heard. That's a good fight, Epsilon-san. Don't get excited. Tisk. This Busta babe has improved a lot. I thought I found a weak spot in her defense, but she knew the exact moment I was going to counterattack. Has she been training? It doesn't matter, I won't let myself be outdone again. I must prove to Shadow-sama that there is only one woman worthy of him, and that's me. Good morning, Alpha-sama. Oh, it's you, Ganma. Good morning. Huh? Are you training so early? Yes. I suppose they've been inspired and have been training hard since their defeat to Delta. I understand. I wish I could be as strong as them. What did you say? Excuse me. It was nothing, I was just talking to myself for a moment. Ganma's been acting a little strange these days. Why is that? Not only that. Zeta didn't send me the report I asked for. Why is it taking so long? Could something have happened? No. Zeta's smart, and she knows how to handle that kind of situation. But I'm kind of worried that she hasn't notified me. I'll ask her directly on the day of school. Sigh. Sometimes I would like to just go to Shadow and tell him something that encourages him to return to Midgar, but if it is his decision not to return, I have to respect it. However, I can't keep covering for him at school any longer, and it's not like I could get away from my duties easily. Besides, if the others find out that I went for the second time, they will be upset because I was the one who came up with the idea of the tournament, and the thing about only going once. I just hope that Delta managed to convince Shadow or one of the other girls. For this time I only want the best for him. Hee boss will reward me for this. A feline girl with long dark ears and a tail of the same color and dark clothes with small golden edges. Long dark hair and with the neckline a little open was gliding at great speed over several structures. Some houses. While the daylight reflected her beauty. People did not see her because of her great speed, and the strong barely saw a small spot that they thought was surely an illusion. That Nico girl had a smile on her face while giving small happy gestures while continuing her movement. Delta is happy. Delta will receive a reward, Disu. Delta continued advancing on the structures while remembering Cid's words before leaving. Okay, Delta. Get my gold. What's going on? Delta wants a reward, boss disse. Hey. Delta wants a reward disse. What could I give you? I don't have any meat or anything. If you succeed in completing the mission, I'll do whatever you want as long as it's within my capabilities. Yes. The boss will do whatever I want, disse. Yes, as long as it's something I can do and I feel like doing. Boss will do whatever I want, disse. Aren't you listening? Alright, boss, I'll do the mission quickly, disse. I want my reward soon, hee. Yes, something like that. See you, boss. Delta climbed out the window with a smile. I wonder if what I told you was the best option. Whatever. If you bring my gold, I'll figure out what to do. It's the most important thing. Delta began sniffing as she continued forward. Among the scents Delta began to pick up, she noticed one similar to the one she was looking for due to her heightened senses. Delta began heading toward the place at even greater speed, even while she was excited because she would finally receive the Chief's supreme gift. Should I visit the master? It's probably forbidden for me to do so now that damned she-wolf is with him right now. But I suppose the master won't mind if I bring him a gift. Zeta continued her search for any clues she might be interested in finding while she remained thoughtful. Zeta-sama, we haven't found anything. We've checked every corner of this area and any suspicious/hidden locations, but we haven't found anything significant. Shall we continue the search? No. We'd better stop, or we'll probably not even find anything. Judging by his words, he was probably trying to confuse us as a distraction. The best thing we can do is interrogate this guy. We'll use the cruelest methods to make him talk. If he doesn't have the anomaly, he probably has an idea of where it is. But we can't let them have it, it would ruin our plans. More importantly, if Alpha-sama finds out about the anomaly and its function, they'll likely seek to get rid of it before the cult can get it, and that will be inconvenient. That's why you are strictly forbidden from telling Alpha-sama. Understood. 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 A small feline with a long tail and pointy ears had appeared in an instant. Zeta was able to sense her presence without any problem. But Victoria and the others barely managed to feel the glow when the girl appeared. To Zeta, she was familiar. It's the stray cat. At least I'm not a wolf. Growling. What are you doing here? That's true. I'm from Bossa looking for a girl and some lost gold. A girl, you said? The scent I smelled matches the clothes Bossa asked me to find. Oh, it's him. Delta pointed directly at the breastplates with his left arm. Boss's gold robbery. Gold? What are you talking about? Boss is very upset because his gold was stolen. The last thing he told me was that he would find the person responsible. So I found him. What are you talking about, you fool? Stolen gold? If that were the case, I suppose the master's orders are absolute, and he deserves death for his sin. But I need to keep him alive a little longer before killing him. Perhaps I can talk to the master to make him talk. Anyway, he also asked this cat to capture the anomaly. Does that mean the master is aware of my plans? If that were the case, he would understand perfectly, I'm sure. Get out of the way, kitty. I'm going to kill this guy on Master Dis's orders. No. I need to get information out of him before then. He'll die, but he can't die yet. Besides, if you kill him, don't you think that would make your only source of finding the gold the master lost go away? Well, that makes sense, Disu. In that case, I'll take him and interrogate him with Bossu. I already told you no. This task was assigned to me. I don't care. Bossu told me clearly that he would catch any suspicious person without mercy and anything that gets in his way, so I will do what Bossu is asking me to do, and he promised me a big reward if I do it. A grand prize? Bossu said he'd do whatever he wanted if he handed over his gold and the anomaly back, so I will. You're lying. The teacher would never do something like that. He told me himself, Disu. Are you jealous, kitty? Be quiet. Shadow-sama has allowed me to do whatever I want, and that's what I will do, Nano Disa. In that case, I'll take you to the suspect you're looking for. You're too stupid to do a simple investigative task. The mission was entrusted to me, Disa. Well, that's a shame because now I'll do it and show you that the master can trust me more. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. What is Delta-sama doing in this place? Is it normal for that to happen? Did Zeta-sama forget that we need to take the suspect in for questioning and investigate the whereabouts of the anomaly? Even the 7 shadows compete with each other, it's no wonder. Hiya, even I would do it if it was about competing over who has Shadow-sama. How strange they all are. I won't argue with you anymore, see you, Wolf. Zeta stepped aside and took Pitos with her as she used her blue mist technique to disappear. After Zeta's action, Delta angrily chased the mana particles that Zeta left behind, taking off. A weakness on Zeta's part is that her presence could still be felt a little, but of course, only Delta could feel it due to her instinct and great sense of smell. It is difficult for another person to do so. This is a weakness of her mist technique, which she had not yet mastered at the same level as Alpha's, who could hide her presence with another technique to complement Alpha's mist technique. Zeta-sama, the plan! What else can I do? I guess it's all up to us. I poured myself some hot chocolate to drink. My fever was still quite high, so my body still felt heavy and I could barely get up. But I couldn't let my body stay in bed all day. I tried to gather a little magic to make the fever go away faster, but this only made it worse. Apparently, when you get a fever in this world, the magical flows of the human body get blocked and prevent magical access. If you try to overexert yourself and gather mana, the flows become damaged. I'm trying to find a way to condense the mana or use the mana to heal myself in a different way a little faster, but I can't find a way yet. I probably need more healing skills now that I think about it. I should buy a home remedy, but I don't have any money and I still have to pay the rent for this place. I hope Delta comes soon. To make matters worse, I can't move around much to hunt bandits. But I won't give up. I need to get that gold, and if necessary, I'll go out. Besides, my body needs to be moving, otherwise I'll rust. I wonder how Hannah is. It took her quite a while to bring back my gold. Well, I sent Delta to get her in case something happens. Although I can't predict what will happen now that Delta is gone. It could have been a good idea or a bad idea. I should have told her not to hurt her. Anyway, what will happen? The last message I received from Alpha mentioned that they couldn't cover for me at school any longer. So I have to return to Midgar, no matter what, even if I don't want to. And I was planning for my research trip to be longer and more interesting, but it won't work. I'll return to Midgar as soon as I manage to recover my gold. I don't want to deal with the annoying girls now. Although the answers I'm looking for in this place still remain. I guess I'll have to resort to flying with my speed to come to this place. Not that I took time or it bothers me. But I would certainly prefer not to use my eminence powers to do basic tasks, and I prefer to be an acting mob drinking his cup of coffee on a train traveling in an Augusta way. But what can be done? Could I send a clone? Nah, I don't have that ability. I wish I could keep the clones I make with my speed for a full day, but even I'm not fast enough to make that possible with my magic. What choice do I have? I guess I have to go back. Humans in a certain way can be very resistant when it comes to physical attacks. It's very simple, just have a barrier or special clothing that can protect you. Even your magic alone can make the damage minimal or 0%, and if you want to be an excellent mob, I just need to move my organs to avoid critical damage. But when someone gets sick, in this world I am unaware that the same diseases exist as in my old life. But diseases here are not a problem. Even if they existed, I can become immune with my mana, increasing the magical power of my body. My cells will eventually become strong for any type of virus. But I still have one weakness, certainly with that hypothesis. It's not just viruses that cause problems. My body is certainly still human after all, and it's not immune to every type of virus on the first try. Like any human, I have to adapt, So lately I've been able to overcome the diseases that I've already caught before thanks to my immune system recognizing them when they want to hit me a second time, thus avoiding another disease. But there must be billions of different viruses. Therefore, I'm not completely immune. Even if I were, if my body was exposed to sudden changes in temperature, I couldn't avoid getting sick, but that wouldn't be because of a virus, but because of my own body. I'm still human, and that shows that I still have weaknesses as such. I've tried different types of skills, but I still fail at it. I never took it very seriously because I never thought I would get critically ill one day, but I guess I must. Oh, so you're finally here. Master, I have arrived. Zeta knelt down from Shadow's room. She had suddenly appeared with her mist technique. Shadow couldn't really sense her presence due to his illness, and his phrase was to practice his line. He never expected Zeta to come, let alone answer his phrase, so he had no choice but to play along. I can assume that you have fulfilled your mission. I regret to inform you that the mission suffered a slight delay, but I will do my best not to disappoint you, Master. Shadow squeezed his cup, which made Zeta get scared by the action, looking down. The progress is going better and everything is going as planned. You don't have to worry about anything, Master. I swear I'll keep my word that I promised you before. What are you talking about? TSK, my migraine got worse when I fell asleep a little. I shouldn't have slept. I really need something. Okay, Zeta. I hope you keep your promise. Yeah. Cid approached a shelf while reaching for some marshmallows to eat with his hot chocolate. Meanwhile, Zeta began to tell Cid about what had happened. The appearance of Prime Minister Darius and Pitos, as well as their defeat, and that they had Pitos with them. But Darius escaped. Pitos could be the one who stole the gold, but he could also be the one suspected of trapping the anomaly and ruining the plans now that they don't know where it is located. And the entrance to Delta, which had to come to ruin the plans even more. I'm sorry to have to tell you all this. I know you probably expected better from me, Master. What do you mean by an anomaly? Did Delta and Zeta have another fight? More importantly, where is Delta, and why hasn't she returned to notify me about my gold, and Zeta is coming to give me the report that she found the suspect? Never mind, I have what I craved most. That's good, I had already considered that. As expected from the Master. So that guy is the one behind all this, huh? We suspect and have a high probability that this is the case, teacher. Very good. Cid began to approach the man who had been left lying on the carpet. Before he could take another step, a loud crash was heard. It was Delta who had crashed into the ceiling of Cid's room, piercing it completely. Oh! Damn stray cat, you disappeared when I had you. It's not my fault that your brain didn't make you realize the circumstances. Growling, I can't stand you. Delta, you came through my room again. I hate you so much. Oh, I'm so scared that you'll bite me? Wow wow. N. Are you not listening to me? Very good, enough for both of you. Help me clean up and rebuild my room. Huh. But it was that stupid boss cat Disa. She stole my hunting target you assigned me, and she still dares to disappear when I chased her. Delta hates her Disa. I don't care which of the two of you was at fault. I was clear when I told you, Delta, not to destroy my room, and in this case, both of you were partly to blame for competing. I'm not going to pay for this, so you're going to help me replace it. But boss! Teacher! I don't want any objections, the two of you are going to help me rebuild my roof and repair the damage. Then I'll listen to what you have to say, but first my roof. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Could you stop blaming each other for a minute and cooperate? You're supposed to be friends and on the same team. If you continue like this, you're not going to solve anything. Okay, Disu. Whatever you say, Master. Very good. Delta and Zeta helped Cid, who with his little magic he had made the materials so that Zeta and Delta would help him repair the wall of the roof that Delta had damaged. Cid advised them on how to repair it. At first it was complicated due to the enormous strength of both of them and that they broke the materials, especially Delta's, But thanks to Zeta's intelligence and Delta's help, after a few hours they had managed to repair Cid's roof. The latter used a little magic to make the garbage that had been left disappear, setting it on fire with his magic and controlling his magic to avoid a fire without many problems. I did it, Disa. You only helped. I actually did all the work because you messed up when you tried to glue the wood together. Grr. Both of them did it. Zeta. Yeah? Sorry if I caused you trouble, Disu. It's okay. It wasn't too complicated anyway. Cid looked at both of them and gave a small smile when he saw that the two had reconciled. Although the job on his roof had been complicated, everything had been fixed, but now there was only one matter left to attend to. Good. Now that we're done fixing my roof. Zeta, did you mention this guy has something to do with my gold? That's right. Also with the anomaly. It's true my scent detects the same sense of smell you told me, Basu. In that case, it's time to get the information out of him. We have to torture him, Master. Should we start with his leg? No better for the right rib, Disa. You guys really call that torture? Torture isn't just beating someone or pulling off their limbs until they talk. It's also reading their body and soul. Body and soul? Body and soul? I'll show you how to make someone talk in no time. Understood, Master. Zeta, wake him up. Zeta touched Pito's shoulder, and with magical energy influenced on his shoulder, he had suddenly awakened. Where am I? What happened? It stinks of blood, Disu. Okay, so you stole my gold, right? Where is my gold? Hey! My gold has been missing since morning. I haven't found it at all. So you tell me where to hide it now. Who the hell are you? Delta kicked Pito's back, causing her to let out a sharp groan of pain. Only Basu can ask the questions. Enough, Delta. But Delta sees it as disrespectful to be spoken to like that, Basu Disa. Delta doesn't like the four-eyed guy. Okay, so you're not going to tell me where you hid my gold, are you? What gold are you talking about? What are they doing here? Wait a minute, the Shadow Garden elite in one room, the feline obeys you as her master, and her species only obeys the strongest. Are you the leader? You haven't answered my question. Before he could continue speaking, Cid put his left finger in Pito's right eye while with a smile he forcibly silenced Pito's. You want to see my face, but that won't happen. That won't happen. Why are you going to tell me where my gold is? Jaya hawa wahia. What a pain! Weren't you taught not to shout? If you weren't taught manners, you don't need your mouth. Are you going to tell me where you hid my gold? I have no idea where. You keep insisting. I see that thieves are very persistent. Cid raised Pito's jaw and in turn indicated to Delta, who followed his order and hit Pito's multiple times. Wow, you're still alive! How surprising, how surprising! Judging by your condition, it won't be long before you die. But don't worry, you're not going to die because you're going to tell me where you hid my gold. Zeta began healing Pito's with her magic, slowly restoring his damaged bones and muscles, except for his right eye, which was beyond saving, and his torn-off arms. Cid didn't have enough mana to restore limbs, so they focused on hitting areas that Zeta could heal, thanks to being an ancestor of the heroine Lilith. Aren't you going to tell me? I have no idea where you're dash. Cid violently hit Pito's in the abdomen multiple times when he noticed that Pito's continued with the same dialogue. Such violence began to make Pito's feel something he had never felt before in his life: absolute terror. Should I go for your left eye now? Wait, I think there's something else interesting here. Please stop. Nah, better if I go for the left eye. Cid brought his arm closer to Pito's missing eye, who began to reel in horror. Before Cid's hand touched his eye, Pito's spoke. Okay, I admit it. I'll tell you where the anomaly is located and everything that happened, but no more. Anomaly? What are you talking about? And my gold? If that's what you want, I'll give you the gold you're asking for, but don't go any further. Very well, I got the truth out of him. It took me 2 hours to get him to talk. He was persistent, but no one escapes from stealing my gold unharmed. I am not from the Round Table. What did you say? I'm just a puppet Pitos-sama is using from the shadows. He predicted the many outcomes that could have occurred, so he's using me as bait. He had me disguise myself as him and relay all my reports to him. Pitos brought his hands to his hair and took off his wig, revealing short hair, revealing himself to be a very different person than how Pitos looked. Wait, who's that, Pitos? I was just following orders, but now that I disobeyed Pitos-sama, the devil cult is going to find me and kill me. Please, I beg you to help me. Devil cult? What's this guy talking about? Is it some bad joke? Tisk. Buck off. First you steal my target, and now you still have the nerve to apologize after causing me trouble. You're an enemy just like those idiots from the Diabolos cult. No, I swear it was not my intention to attack anyone. I was just following orders. I couldn't reveal anything because if I did they would kill me. And yet you did it! I don't care who you killed, but you interfered with my plans and were involved with that stupid bastard. Besides, I won't forget those words you said to me. It was beautiful when I killed her. Wait for me. Before the suspect could continue, Zeta decapitated his head with his left hand with a strong blow. Blood splattered his face as he stared at the scene in a serious manner. No one in the cult deserves forgiveness. Zeta, don't you think that was a little extreme? Not at all. Those who threatened the Shady Garden and those associated with the cult all deserve to die. I don't know what you all mean by that word, cult, but even if it was an enemy NPC organization from the shadows, this guy was the typical NPC used by the villain to commit his misdeeds. It's not that I'm interested in the life of an NPC, but even I felt a little sorry for him. But more importantly, he was going to give me my gold and he couldn't speak. Damn it, Zeta. I started to feel my legs weaken and I fell to the ground almost instantly. What was happening? Could it be because I used too much magical energy in my state and needed to rest? It had never happened to me before, so I guess I exceeded my physical condition. Teacher? Basu, are you okay? I guess I needed to rest more in bed. My vision began to blur. The only thing I had managed to notice were Zeta and Delta, who seemed worried. I didn't hear what they were trying to tell me, but my consciousness had finally clouded over. The next day, on the night of the full moon in the city of Beggar, my consciousness began to return to me. I began to see a little blurry what was around me. At the same time, I felt warmth in both arms that I had. When my vision recovered better and I realized, I saw Zeta and Delta. Both were stuck to my left and right sides. I was in bed, but why am I naked? Wait, why are Zeta and Delta naked too? Boss, don't be rude, Disu. Master, you can do whatever you want to me. What are you both supposed to be dreaming about? Anyway, I guess it's time to get up. I started to get up, being careful not to wake Zeta and Delta, but as soon as I tried to move, I was immobilized by both of them, who wouldn't let me get up. Were they awake, or was it feline instincts? I'm still too weak to use my speed magic. I don't want to stay in bed with them like this. The doorknob rattled and opened immediately. A little girl with long, dark-streaked albino hair, crimson eyes the size of a blood moon, and a white/gray dress had entered my room. Was it Hannah? Although she looked different, she was covered in wounds and her clothes were somewhat torn. She held onto the wall as she moved forward. Brother, I'm finally here. I'm sorry for the delay, but today was dash. Hannah looked at Cid, who was surrounded by naked Zeta and Delta. He was also naked in the room. Noticing this, the little girl grabbed the first thing she saw, which was one of Cid's shoes that was lying within her reach, and threw it at Cid, who moved his head, dodging the impact before it arrived. Who are these creepy cats, brother? I arrived at the worst moment. What's going on? Very good enough length of my house both. Your house? Excuse me? Zeta and Delta woke up slowly and rubbed their eyes. Upon doing so, they noticed a little girl with long white hair and crimson eyes, also covered in wounds, and her clothes somewhat dirty/torn, enter Cid's room. Who's that brat? Basu. Delta attached herself to Cid, who became uncomfortable with Delta's actions and tried to detach her. But upon noticing Zeta's actions, she attached herself to him with jealousy, which caused Cid to be trapped again, and being sick, he couldn't get both of them off him. "Stop calling me at 2! Get out of here!" Hannah moved Zeta and Delta with her telekinesis, causing them both to move away from their master. Bye-bye. Hannah tried to throw Zeta and Delta towards the window, but both of them, upon noticing it, resisted, making it difficult for Hannah to throw her while keeping both of them in the air. "Hannah, stop now. Don't worry, bro, I'll save you from these rats looking for boyfriends." "They're not rats looking for boyfriends, and you're not going to save me from anything. That's why you're making a mess of my room." "But let them go now." "I won't do it." Hannah continued to force her grip, and Cid hit his head on her hand as he stood up. He put on his robe and tied his ribbon. "Get out!" "Tisk!" Zeta threw 2 slime kunais at Hannah, who stopped using her telekinesis to move and dodged both of Zeta's kunai attempts. "She's fast. As expected from the anomaly I'm looking for." Zeta took advantage of the fact that she fell to the ground and activated her slime suit, while her sword materialized. Delta also activated her slime suit. They both launched themselves together towards Hannah, who kept her gaze focused on both of them. Before they could cross paths, Cid appeared in the center and stopped the movements that both of them were planning to launch. "I don't want them to wreak havoc in my room." "Get out of the way, boss. I'm going to attack her, Disa. She interrupted me when I was sleeping comfortably next to you." "Enough with the games. First of all, she's an acquaintance of mine. Second, you're not creeps and you're my classmates. Third, where did you come from these hours ago? Fourth, may I ask why you two undressed me?" "Your acquaintance, Basadisa? It was the wolf who stripped you. But didn't you agree with the master plan?" "Of course they're creeps, they were in the same bed as you and naked, and you too. How can you sleep with 2 women? And even more after I disappeared for days?" "I was worried about you. I went to look for your gold. I didn't find it, and 2 widows kidnapped me. I barely managed to get out alive. I got lost and went without eating. They injured me and I had to walk on my way home, which was very far away. I still come back, and thinking that you were wrong, I still find you sleeping with 2 people, you a pervert." Both Zeta, Delta, and Hannah started arguing with each other. Cid, on the other hand, touched his head in annoyance and sighed heavily as he escaped from the room stealthily. "Explain it, brother." "Explain what? You don't even know these thieves and they took advantage of you. Is that what the woman who lives in her house says? How do I know you're not the thief and even a minor? I don't need to resort to such dirty tactics to get my brother's attention. No. No one here is the enemy. You're all getting confused. First of all, this is Hannah and she lives with me. Second, Hannah, these are my roommates. Can you stop yelling at them and throwing things at them? Third, I'm sick, I'm tired, I want to eat, and I feel like taking a shower. Would you be so kind as to keep quiet and leave me alone? Are you sick, teacher? Didn't Disa tell you? That can wait. I don't agree that only your colleagues treat you that way, you know? Oh yeah? I don't care if you agree with me or not. I didn't like what happened and that's what I said. Whether you believe me or not doesn't matter to me. I'm just telling you, without ifs or buts, what happened and what I think. I'm not going to rack my brains trying to explain anything to you. I have something to tell you and you come with this. Buck, could you not get like that for once in your life? TSK. Do what you want, you're just like everyone else. To the others? If you want to be with those 2, do it. I came to help you kindly and I find this. If you want to do dirty things, do what you want. I'm going to my room. Forget about your gold, by the way. Do you know that I just explained the reason to you, yet you throw it in my face again and now you come out with that gold thing? Cid and Hannah, Zeta and Delta started arguing for a long time until everyone finally calmed down. Okay, then let me see if I understood correctly. You said that cat and that weird dog are your companions, right? I'm not a cat. Who are you calling a dog? Hannah, control your vocabulary. I'm getting stressed out from hearing so much yelling. Seriously, if you keep this up, everyone will leave my house. Alright. Continue. I understand. I'm very sorry to tell the truth and that you two are creeps who came to steal my brother. What did you say? It can't be another time. But if my brother accepts a bunch of sluts like you, what can he do? But if you plan to steal my brother, I won't have mercy. I could crush your heads. Since when do I own you? How do I know you're not an adult disguised as a child who already wanted to do what you keep saying we shouldn't do? Okay, if you three keep yelling in my house, I'll have to kick you all out of my room. So stop yelling or insulting each other. I don't want to tolerate yelling in my house. But boss, this, teacher, brother. But nothing. Alright. The three of them are my precious companions. I don't love anyone more than the other. What happened was a misunderstanding. I wasn't even aware of it, and you should already engrave that in your heads. Okay, Disu. One way or the other. Good. Now can you explain to me what you mean by that anomaly? What plan were you telling me, Zeta? And what were you going to tell me, Hannah? I thought you were okay with me bringing the anomaly and getting rid of it because you saw it as dangerous. That? I never said that. When you said plan, I meant something else. Another thing? Yeah. I don't understand. What exactly did you mean? Forget it. Hannah, your turn. I won't tell you in front of these two girls. I don't trust them. Okay. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to find my gold. Wait, bro, you can't go out yet, you're sick. I agree, boss Disu. I think the teacher needs a rest. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going out for my gold. I need to find it. Don't do it, boss. Delta is worried that you'll faint again. Disu, Delta doesn't want to see that scene of boss jumping off the waterfall again. Disu. Master, if you want gold, I can get it for you, but you take a break. I'll bring you some medicine for your fever. Wait a minute, you two aren't going to do anything. I'm in charge of you. Cid continued walking while the slime covered his body. He left the room. This was noticed by the three who chased him and pulled him by the arm. Wait, teacher! Boss! Brother! I'm tired of your talk, I'm going to go get my gold. Cid expelled a bit of his power, causing the three to be thrown outside, and he in turn began to fly in an unknown direction. Tisk! Boss! Master, I will accompany you. The three moved while chasing Shadow, who was flying somewhat slowly due to his condition. He noticed that they were chasing him. You guys again? At least let us help you, you're in terrible condition. I don't need help. Shadow continued flying but suddenly felt a strong burning in his chest, and he began to fall back to the ground. Noticing this, Zeta and Delta pounced on Shadow to catch him, worried. Before Shadow could fall to the ground, a red energy had covered him. Shadow had been surrounded by a strange energy. Hannah used her telekinesis to hold Shadow's body and bring him closer to her once close enough. Hannah left her brother's body on the ground. Brother? Bossu! Teacher! Chapter 17. A few hours later, Hannah, Delta, and Zeta had taken Cid back to her rented room. Hannah wasn't happy with Delta and Zeta entering her room, but for the moment she didn't notice any hostile intentions from them. Although for some reason Hannah suspected Zeta more than Delta. But Hannah had no options. An unnecessary fight certainly wasn't going to help, and besides, her brother needed treatment. Whether they were enemies or not, the only thing she could be sure of was that if they both tried something, she would have to act. For the moment, Hannah was also tired, and the wounds she had within herself began to show after using that release of power from before and forcing herself. But she knew she had to hold on a little longer for Cid. On the other hand, Zeta wasn't happy that her target was so close to her and couldn't simply take her and start the project she had in mind. But Zeta had to leave her plans with Hannah behind a bit to first focus on making her master feel better. Besides, Zeta suspected that if she took Hannah with her, this could put Shadow in a bad mood. Zeta, in a way, didn't care if Shadow was bothered or not by what she would do, since she was already willing to pay for whatever sins he would have to pay if Shadow got upset with her, even if that meant sacrificing her life so that her master could have his long-awaited eternal life. But even Zeta had some logic and empathy at these moments. Hannah brought her hand closer to Cid's head, but before she could do so, Delta and Zeta stopped her at the same time. "Don't touch it, Disa. Only I can touch the master. I'm not interested in your opinion. Take your hand off me or you'll regret it. Why don't you try it? If your wish is to die, I will grant it." GGUH. Shadow started trying to talk as he slowly woke up, to the surprise of the three who thought he was unconscious. "Teacher? Basu? Brother? Move aside. I have to get my gold." "Enough with this nonsense. Let go of your obsession with your precious gold for a minute. Don't you see your current situation? Don't talk to Boss Diso like that." Tisk. Zeta brought her hand to Shadow's forehead at such an action. Delta and Hannah angrily tried to stop Zeta, but she had already touched Shadow and quickly closed her eyes as if she were trying to discover something. "The fever on the teacher's return, it was probably because you didn't take proper rest. Do you know how he is? Unlike you, I'm used to dealing with these kinds of situations. But my healing power can't cure illnesses. He needs a remedy. He needs something to take away the fever and paralysis. That's easy to assume. I think I can get something for the teacher." "No, I won't do it, Disa. You don't even know where to look properly, you silly wolf. Besides, the remedy I'm suggesting, I don't think a brainless person like you could find." Shadow began to cough a little. This was observed by Delta, who looked at her master with concern. She had to make a decision. Deep down she was hurt by Zeta's words because Delta hasn't done much for Shadow. He failed to give him the gold he promised Shadow, and that's why he's so upset right now. Her master's condition is worsening, and he doesn't know what to do really. Desperate to do and look for something, she tries to find a way to save her master, but even she doesn't know what to do right now. At this moment Delta could only remain silent, and although she hated to admit it, let Zeta take care of the situation. Besides, she couldn't leave her master behind. A very common custom among therianthropes was to care for and protect their masters until death, and be loyal to them as their wives or future ones. If a therianthrope recognized someone as their master, it was their duty. Delta wanted to do more things for Shadow, but the only thing he could do for now was watch something he didn't dislike, but he didn't like to stand there watching Shadow in that situation. "Zeta, are you going to find the remedy you're talking about?" "Yeah." "Come back soon, otherwise I'll kill you." "As if you could do that. But I'll be back as soon as possible. Until I get back, I hate to admit it, but take care of the teacher, otherwise I'll personally come and kill you too. Don't compare me to you, stray cat. Unlike you, I know how to take care of Basu." Zeta had left the room in the blink of an eye. Delta, in turn, held Shadow's left hand. She was lying on the left side of the bed next to Shadow. Hannah, on the other hand, was on the right side, although she was sitting on her knees. Hearing the conversation between Zeta and Delta brought back some strange memories. At the orphanage, Hannah often saw two classmates in particular who argued a lot, but at the end of the arguments, they always got along, although in her own way, she sometimes laughed at what happened with both of them. Zeta's attitude seemed suspicious to her, but Delta's attitude seemed suspicious to her, according to the eyes Hannah had seen regarding the world and the darkness. She could see in the feline's eyes that she had no hostile intentions. At least not with Shadow. Hannah could easily detect the power of both girls. According to her brother's words, both were her classmates. But Hannah, due to her poor memory of the orphanage, doesn't remember much about the relationships she had before. She was only afraid of something that her heart and mind never left behind. That tragic night in which she could only see fallen bodies, her family, the orphanage, everything that meant something to her had been destroyed. Her hands were stained. Afraid of herself, she never saw the light again. A strange organization was experimenting on her. The food she received the first few times she didn't remember. She only remembered finding traces of blood and the discarded food. The other times she only received food through injections into her body to administer the supplies she would need. Those who experimented on her were fascinated and in turn were cautious with her. It was strictly forbidden to see her or speak to her directly or get too close. When it was time to feed her, she was subdued by two strange men who always left her unconscious so they could inject her and administer serums and food. Sometimes the girl would get out of control and understandably attack whatever was around her, even while she was unconscious. The lab detected something unusual. But it wasn't too difficult to avoid it more times. After all, the room was specifically designed so that girl would be suppressed and unable to escape in any way. The only thing she did in her free time while awake was turning the Rubik's Cube she still had with her, which the most important person in her life had left her before passing away. The only thing keeping her sane was that cube, which she turned over and over again to distract herself. The light from outside was practically non-existent in her room. Sometimes she couldn't sleep because of the nightmares she had about herself from that day or the fear she developed that the same people would enter at any moment. The traumatic stress developed at an early age. After a few years, she began to lose her fear and stress. Her heart was just empty. Her mind was blank. She would just spin her cube or just lie there doing nothing her whole life. She only longed for one thing. To die, that's all she wanted, to rest in peace. But that hope was slowly rotting away. Her mind was drifting. The Rubik's Cube was increasingly no longer calming her. The dark circles under her eyes from lack of sleep began to become noticeable, and the thinness caused by the way she ate her food also took its toll on her body, which, thin and weak, could barely stand. It was then that darkness found light when that room was destroyed, and that man in a long, dark cape and a fan suit managed to lock eyes with her. She never thought of seeing the outside, but above all, of seeing another person. And even more so to someone with the same eyes as hers. More than that, as she looked outside, she could momentarily remember how beautiful the world was. She only longed for one thing. If he was there, he longed for something. I don't want to be in this darkness anymore. Get me out of here. Get me out of here even if I die. I want to escape. Is your name Delta? Yes, and I am Boss's #1 faithful companion. Bossu? What kind of nickname is that? That's the nickname I gave to the boss Disa. Isn't it amazing? May I know why you call him boss? My species has one common rule. When we encounter people who are stronger than us or downright strong, it's our duty to start calling them boss. The strong follows the weak. The boss is very strong. What a strange habit. But I don't notice her telling lies. Judging by her attitude, I notice she's confident in what she says. Are you just following him because he's strong? No. I follow him because he's the Disa. What exactly do you mean by that? When you care deeply about someone, the reason you follow them doesn't matter. I owe my life to the boss, and even if the world was in complete chaos, I would stand by him until my death. So you were also saved by him, wasn't it? Both of them were. So I wasn't the only one who was saved by him. The difference between them and me is that I stayed to live with him because I had no choice. While they continued their lives, but their loyalty prevails. I still don't know if I should trust them either. And you? What is your relationship with Chief Disa? Let's just say I owe him my life too. I understand. The boss is amazing, Disa. However, he's only mine. I hope you respect that. We'll see. No one will get Bossu but me, or Alpha-sama. Disa is the only one who can have him if I don't have him first. Alpha-sama? I forgot to say it. Delta covered her mouth in fear as she remembered what he'd said. Hannah sighed at this. The girl in front of him was stranger than she looked, but not in a bad way. How long have you known your boss? Delta doesn't remember. I only remember 3 years? I don't know Disa. 3 years? Although I'm not allowed to reveal more information, Disa. I understand. She probably knows more about my brother than I could ever know, but it wouldn't be appropriate to ask her anything. After all, it seems that the unknown person in these circumstances is me. I don't know if I should believe that she's known my brother for 3 years, but if it's true, does that mean my brother has been like that for a long time? For some reason, I feel like I can free myself a bit from the mental burden I had back then. I have a question for you. A question? If you're as loyal to him as you say you are, would you be able to take out the people who threaten him? Yeah. He said it very quickly. No matter who or when, no one attacks my boss. Anyone who did would have to take me out first. Interesting. Listen to this because I'm only going to say it once. Are you okay, Disa? I owe my life to my brother. When I thought everything was over for me, he showed me a path I could still choose to walk. But something inside me is stalking me more and more. And I can't control it. Currently, my brother has discovered the reason of how to face it, and always be by my side. He is strong enough to be able to defeat me and avoid the problems he caused. But even though he is strong, I fear that one day that may not happen, and if it does, I will have to die. Die? What are you talking about? Why are you so surprised? Death is no longer something surprising to me, life. It's not something that scares me. But it would be even for me to leave him in this world if I had to resort to that option. If I disappear from this world, he will be alone. He's probably fine. Before he met me he was, and he saves people like you. But I still want to make sure he's okay. If I ever have to die, I would like you to be the one to finish me off before I can cause a disaster that affects the world. Why should I do it? I don't notice any hostile energy in your eyes or your magical energy when you're around my brother, even as you stand here holding his hand. It's rare for me to encounter souls like this. The first one I encountered was my brother. I still don't trust you, but I can't help but be blinded by my ability. Would you be able to kill me? If you're a threat to the boss, I'll kill you, but that wouldn't make the boss happy. Happy? I don't like you, Disa. But you're important to him, aren't you? He even asked me to go get you on the previous mission. But I couldn't find you. But the fact that the boss has already decided that speaks volumes about how much he cares about you. And I'm jealous of you. The fact that you're treating your life so lightly means you don't care about boss's feelings. And if you don't care, you'd better not be around him. Ha! You really don't understand, do you? If I wanted to kill you, I would have, but if I don't, it's because I'm worried about the boss's health. And the last thing I want to do now is start making him feel worse than he was before. Do you care that much? Why did he save you? Why did he give you a home? Why is it that I don't have to explain it again, Disa? This girl is interesting. I tried to get information out of her, and she remains adamant about not revealing anything more. She even gives up her instincts for my brother's well-being. Not bad. I've heard enough. Hannah got out of bed and started walking towards the kitchen. Where are you going? Seriously, you've had him for 3 years and you don't know it? When someone's on fire, you need to replace the rag with a new one. I will do it. No. I'll do it. No, I won't do it. You're so insistent. But I won't give in. I've already had enough of you staying in this room just because he agreed to let you. But I won't do whatever you want, don't get me wrong. Dirty girl. TSK. Do you even know the reason why I'm this way? Surely the boss took pity on such a dirty girl, Disa. What about you? 3 years with him and you can't live at his house? How humiliating it is, isn't it? A little stranger takes him with her every day and takes care of him, and you're forgotten. What a shame. That's not true. I'm sorry I hurt your pride. I'd better control myself next time and tell the truth. Girl, I can't stand you. What a pity if you saw how many have said those words to me. Hannah started walking towards the kitchen, ignoring Delta's complaints and closing the door. Elsewhere. Wow, how long has it been since the Diabolos cult had a meeting with all the seats involved? That doesn't matter. We'll talk about the issue with the 10th seat at the round table. He has to tell us, and the reason for this meeting is partly to discuss what's been happening lately with the situation of the devil cult in general. Pitos adjusted his glasses and brought out some papers with his report written on them. He smiled confidently as he approached the hologram. The seats of the Diabolos cult rarely met, and it was almost impossible to happen, and when they did, the situation was usually abnormal and required immediate treatment, threatening the existence or causing problems for the cult. The meeting was held through an advanced device that displayed holograms of all the seats. Every seat had one with them and was specifically turned on for the meeting. The atmosphere felt somewhat different. Even Pitos, who was a member of the Round Table, had never noticed such a tense atmosphere before. This was because Pitos had never been alive when there was a meeting of all the Round Table members of the cult. This was his first experience. I propose that the anti-shadow plan begin. Anti-shadow plan? The anti-shadow plan, as you will notice its name says it. It is a plan that I have been developing for a long time. The plan consists of definitively eliminating Shadow Garden. Previously I tried more things and more plans to achieve that goal without having to resort to that plan, but they all failed. With all due respect to the Round Tables of the Diabolos cult, as you know. The Diabolos cult has already suffered the loss of 3 Round Tables, 4 of the 13 swords, elite subordinates, members of factions, and even an economic blow after the John Smith incident. Shadow Garden is an organization that was insignificant from the beginning, but as time has passed, they have become more and more stubborn, and the casualties we have suffered, don't you think that is something to ignore? My plan and proposal is to exterminate any threat that represents the Diabolos cult, and Shadow Garden is a threat that if we don't finish it off, it will become a critical problem. Are you saying that Shadow Garden is a threat to the Diabolos cult and that if we don't exterminate them, they will? I'm very sorry, Loki-sama. I didn't mean to say it that way. But I did mention that if we don't exterminate Shadow Garden immediately, the cult will lose more and more resources. Even now that we have everything under control, that won't last forever. The economic and power losses are starting to take their toll. Round tables like us are strong enough for Shadow Garden, there's no need for any anti-shadow plan. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Loki-sama. After all, we lost 3 round tables. Nelson was overconfident. Mordred had flaws in his plan, and it was stupid to go it alone without any support against everyone, believing he could win alone. Fenrir was a major loss for the cult. He is one of the strongest Round Table members, and his loss was a significant blow. But it may also be possible that Fenrir was overconfident enough to go it alone. I wouldn't say that, Loki-sama. Remember that Fenrir, even if he had trusted himself, is not like Nelson or Mordred. He knows perfectly well what he is doing. He is one of the most experienced rounds. Even if he were alone against the Shadow Garden elite and fell, he would kill several members and the Shadow Garden group would suffer casualties. But there weren't any, and that was because he had the bad luck that the leader had planned what he was going to do, and he couldn't escape. Are you implying that I'm wrong and that the leader of that cheap organization is stronger than Fenrir? No way, you're right about everything, Loki-sama. However, the leader did finish off Fenrir, and I know this perfectly well because I've already experienced the terrifying power hidden within the leader of Shadow Garden. If they were his troops, they wouldn't be a problem to consider. Even we could take care of them without a plan. But the leader is a serious problem. Then we just have to attack him by more than 2 seats, and he won't even get out alive. I'm enough for that stupid leader you're talking about. With all due respect, Loki-sama, the leader is not someone we should underestimate. The 2 are enough. Pito's point of view is interesting. But I don't see a clear need to interfere. The issue isn't something that requires the presence of all the Round Table members. I have something that might interest you all, if you'll excuse me. Forward. Pitos adjusted his glasses and began to read the documents he had with him. I have planned this anti-shadow plan months in advance and in advance. I was trying to make the plan as successful as possible. However, the odds were not in my favor because I did not have the support of the Round Tables and there was also a high probability of it failing. However, now this has changed. I have discovered something interesting that could even make it so that if I receive the support of the Round Tables, the plan for the resurrection of Diabolos can be completed without the need for the arms and limbs that the cult is still looking for, and which it needs for the resurrection of the divine creature. A replacement, a mana tank so extraordinary that if we manage to get our hands on it, we will be able to accomplish everything. A mana tank, are you saying? Recently, thanks to my reports, I have discovered that there is a girl, an anomaly, who has a power very similar to the one the Witch of Calamity possessed 1,000 years ago. This may sound illogical and hard to believe, but I have proof with me that confirms it. Pitos showed several documents which were of experiments, reports that were made on little Hannah when she was in the hands of the cult years ago, and about the magical power that she herself took off until her subsequent disappearance. Pitos began to explain how the girl took out a strange power many of the times they tried to experiment on her, even several who attended to her died. They had to create a special room dedicated to her to restrict her enormous magical power, and even then there were still cases of deaths. Her mana was so likely that not even the room could affect her, and the room they used on her had similar characteristics to the sanctuary that Nelson used to restrict the avatar of the calamity, which, even if it was an avatar, the mana she possessed at her age was a complete mystery. Pitos gave everything about Hannah what he knew, and that she was involved with Shadow Garden. Interesting. I congratulate you on your information gathering work, Pitos. I am very honored by your words, C2. Your evidence and reports will probably be of great help to us, but if it turns out to be misinformation, you know the consequences that could arise. Don't worry about it. I would never do anything so low level. I made sure to confirm my information well in advance before submitting it and make sure it was specific. If what you say is true, I'm intrigued by your plan. Do you want to exterminate Shadow Garden to recover the anomaly they lost because of Shadow Garden? That's right. My subordinates were completely stupid for not having preventative measures, but I can't blame them entirely either. After all, information about Shadow Garden was scarce and we didn't know about its power. But now that that's changed, I plan to correct the mistake they made. Tell us the details you need for your plan. I was wondering if I could get help from seat number 3. Your skill is what will make the plan a complete success. With all due respect, 3. Your information is interesting, but why should I help you? Your skill is what I need. I can guarantee you won't regret it. Why should I believe you? The body of Shadow Garden's leader is what you've been searching for years. It's the perfect body. If we manage to disable the leader, we'll not only have victory assured, you'll become even more powerful than you ever imagined. I heard about your exchange ability. Clearly, you don't need to use it. Your enormous power gives you away. But I can assure you, it's worth it. Interesting. Help him 3. Just because the leader agrees. However, know your place, little brat. If what you say is a lie or fails, you'll wish you weren't alive. Oh, don't worry. I've got everything figured out. Seats 1 and 2 refuse to participate in the Anti-Shadow Project, just as the others are necessary for their duties and their corresponding missions. However, seats 4 and 3 are free to access, but you may choose. With the confirmation of seat 3, Loki-sama, will you participate in Pitos-sama's plan? I wouldn't have to, nor would I have any reason to help a newbie. But a long time ago, part of my faction was destroyed by Shadow Garden. I had an agreement with Fenrir. So I will. Interesting. So that fool Loki is also participating? Normally, he wouldn't do it because we have opposing ideas, but if he separated my hatred for him, his help will come in handy. Okay, with that we conclude the meeting. Anything you'd like to add to the seating? If you fail this mission, you'll be fine. You can kiss your life goodbye. Do you doubt that Pitos will fail me in the equation, old man? Who knows? You're very predictable. What did you say? Very well, without further ado, the round table meeting is over. The screens went dark and the round tables disappeared. Pitos arranged his files with a small smile. I didn't expect Loki to agree to. Only with the cooperation of any of the first 3 seats was enough for the plan to come out perfectly. I need mental strength because not even the entire Diabolos cult should be able to have the sufficient power that I seek. My plan went perfectly. I managed to bribe seat 3, but now my existence is in danger if I fail this mission. But no problem. If my information is correct, Loki-sama and 3 will disable Shadow Garden's troops. Now that I am the leader of this mission, I will guide them. While they do that, I will take care of the anomaly if I manage to obtain the anomaly before the cult. Ha ha ha. Pitos started to leave, opening the door. When he left, he noticed that his subordinate was waiting for him, leaning against the wall. Pitos-sama. Prime Minister Darius knelt in the presence of Pitos. The meeting went better than I expected. I'm glad to hear that from you, Pito-sama. How's your left hand? It's much better. The devil's tears have completely regenerated it. It seems like they never took it off. I gave you tears for your excellent contribution in the battle. Thanks to you and my subordinate, the plan went perfectly. Excuse me, Pito-sama, but the subordinate you're talking about. Don't worry. I had it in mind that he was going to betray me. So I just used him as bait. With the technology one have, I was able to create an expiratory device. He didn't even notice when I put it on him. Thanks to that, I can finally have something important, the identity I was looking for from the leader. Excuse my impertinence, but may I ask what the plan was? The plan was very simple. If I wanted everything to go as planned, I needed something important. As you know, the leader is my priority. But if I don't know my opponent, no matter how smart and cunning he is, nothing matters. Let me ask you something. What do you think is the most powerful thing in the world? The power? Exactly, and what does the leader have? Can. If I want to overcome power, I can't do it even if I had all the resources because I lack power. I could never do it against it, even if I wanted to. But I don't have to. If I can use that power for my own benefit, everything will be excellent. Pitos walked, leaving Darius behind, who started to follow him. How long has Pitos-sama been planning all of this? This seems unusual. He even considered betraying his subordinate and uses bait to get to his target. Who is the monster? Shadow Garden, or a person who has been planning everything for so long?
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.